Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Smith Tools and Purchase, Level Plain Poem, Vitali Z, Colton James, BG, Survive the Spin, FE Patriot on the level, Thomas van der Zander, Gary Hughes, Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, Sea Level Cultist, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name's Burley, Twodwazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, J Mel's 24, Unamento, M Iron 26, Endless, Golden McKinnon, Retro Bill, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B. Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chow Yun Cat, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. And with that, I'll hand across to whoever is in Discord, and it's the Politics Discord today, and G+, to see whoever's in there, and you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
It really pisses me off, dude. I can't use my video permission.
No, that's only because the channel has more than 25 people in it. It automatically turns off video.
Really?
Yeah. It doesn't have anything to do with you or your account, because if there's more than 25 people, it limits the amount of of content, because that way it doesn't, if like a room with 100 people all had their cameras on, it'd just be like, dead. Like no one would be able to connect or anything. It'd become, too much data or whatever. Especially people on, phones or mobile devices.
And with Timbo.
Morning.
What's up?
Guy.
Evening.
Good day, hello.
Dr. Law was hot micing earlier. Dr. Law, you there? Okay, perfect. Thanks.
I apologize again.
Yeah, no worries, dude. Normally I've been sending you a message when you hot mic, but I think you get the clue that it happens quite a bit. And if you ever want to get unmuted, just say, "Hey, I think I was hot micing," and that's generally what happens.
Yeah, I keep my phone in my pocket and it sometimes just hits the button. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we were talking about some of the YouTubers, Professor Dave, and he thought it was kind of funny just to throw that I think he's mocking Professor Dave.
Yeah.
He was look, we had a couple anti-flat earthers come in here this morning and full freak out, like full thermonuclear meltdown. And we talked about like why are they like this? This sort of fictitious nature that they think they're defending, science or protecting humanity from misinformation or whatnot. And one of the things that came up was how like McToon and Fight the Flat Earth and Mr. Sensible like to fancy themselves as superheroes, and they use like profile PFPs with like pulling their shirt away and there's a Superman science man underneath or whatever. And he thought that was pretty hilarious. So I don't know. You have to ask him, but I think my take is that he's kind of invoking that just throw Professor Dave nonsense.
Yeah, Craig Fight the Flat Earth goes around with a screen name Batman.
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 Yo, sorry, yeah, pretty much that, mate. Yeah, just a little piss take, really. Exactly that, mate.
Yeah, I thought so. Just by I mean,
Yeah.
I hate to interpret someone's actions, but you changed it right after we were talking about that.
Yeah,
I figured it was connected.
Yep, no, 100% spot on, mate.
So how's your flat Earth journey coming along, Professor Pads? Are you there yet?
Shit, give me 2 minutes, mate. I just started making a brew. I'll be back in 2 secs.
Do you actually care?
Oh, listen, he's been in here quite a bit, and he's had some good discussions, and yeah, I was just interested to see where he was at, where he's come to. I haven't been in for a little bit, so
Fair enough.
Yeah, Pads is at the spot where he's like 50, or 49-49. It could be, and he's like 2% kind of unsure, or that gray area. The only thing, like a teeter-totter, the only thing that's keeping him on the globe side is that the lie is too big. Like, it's like too many people. The conspiracy theory, it's too big, it's too elaborate. It covers, too many people. But at the same time, he realizes a cognitive dissonance that it's a lot of disinformation and anti-flat earth ism. And he sees the people who supposedly supposed to be representing the globe just in absolute thermonuclear meltdowns over flat earth, which I can't even tell you what it is even. So he's like it feels like he's constantly juggling his own ideas and also trying to fit into the overall jargon that we use in culture of this debate sphere.
Okay then. That's good to know.
it's actually just good to have someone that wants to come in and have the discussion and listen and not have the meltdown. I think I've appreciated some of the conversations.
Fair enough.
What are you having meltdowns again, Nathan?
No, not me. Globe believers, according to, is it Crit?
Yeah, we had a couple come in here this morning, just straight up foaming at the mouth, rabid, just complete TOS violations. Like.
Talking about the French gentleman.
Yeah, it was him, and then like the surveyor guy was in here this morning too. I'm trying
Hey,
to think.
Chris,
There's a
put
couple
yourself
of them.
into their shoes, right? Everything that they know from youth on up, what they may have went to school for, is gone. We got to give them a little more compassion. When they're foaming at the mouth, we could wipe it away and just try to comfort them a little bit. No?
Yeah, that's what I try to do. But once they go like into start, threats of violence and stuff, you just gotta shut it down. It's too far. It's too much. Like, just for like TOS violations and whatnot. For people that we don't know for sure, they could be really that could be a triggering. They could have in real life been a victim of violence. So when you've got somebody in here spouting that sort of crazy rhetoric, you got to shut it down because it doesn't create a safe space for people to communicate. The same reason why SA threats aren't appropriate, or all the other crap that the globalists do, to try to get people uncomfortable, and because the goal is to shut the conversation down. At the end of the day, they don't want this to happen.
Right. It's like a
globe,
rabid
and that's
dog.
it.
You got to put a rabid dog down. Otherwise, they turn into Cujo. And you know what happened in Cujo.
Actually, no, I don't.
You gotta hide in the car. You gotta lock the doors.
You never see Cujo with the rabid Saint Bernard?
No, Neil.
I think it was a Stephen King movie. A dog got bit by a bat, I think, and got rabies. And the whole movie was this woman trying to protect a young son trapped inside of a car with this maniac dog the size of a freaking baby lion, a mid-aged lion. I don't know. You know how big St. Bernards are.
It's a good movie. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Remember Who's the Boss, that show with Tony
I was thinking
Danza?
Old Yeller.
I got you.
Hey, that sounds to me like you're the one
I was
threatening
kind of thinking
violence.
about like Old Yeller, the end of Old Yeller.
Whoa,
I got
what?
mumble, mumble, mumble.
This guy's trying to say you got to kill all the Globers? That's messed up.
No, I never said that. You never heard that
Said you
word
got to.
come out of my mouth.
You said.
Do not put
You
words in my
said the
mouth.
Glober.
I said, like a
You said
rabid dog, you got to put him down.
you got to put them down. Yeah, putting them down means killing them. And then you said all the Globies have rabies, meaning you got to put them all down.
Talking about the conversation. Crit was talking about how they foam at the mouth at the conversation. You want to turn into killing ballers, you're baller, go ahead.
No, that's what you're saying. Take it easy, man. Take it down a notch.
Yeah, so when I put my kids down to sleep, I
Called
guess
an
in your world,
analogy.
I'm killing my kids. You're retarded, bud.
Called an
Fairly sure he's just
analogy, and you're a
trolling and people
fucking
thinking the
retard.
bait.
All right, I'm gonna start handing out mutes.
You put rabid dogs down to sleep?
Hold on.
Okay.
If you can't get an analogy, then you need to be muted.
That guy's here to share his
Yeah,
pain.
this guy's taking what you're saying out of context. You're clearly using a metaphor, and he's trying to act like you're. I put him on mute. He can stay on mute.
Yeah, he's here to share his pain. He's got a screen name. Flat Earthers are silly. Stereotyping fallacy is a screen name.
Yeah, he's got rabies.
No need. I get what you're saying, right? You're suggesting he's foaming at the mouth, furious with us flat earthers by metaphor. Unfortunately, sometimes people like to twist metaphors, Neil. So let's just leave off the metaphors a little
Yeah,
bit.
I'll stay away from the ones that carry that much weight.
You'll need a horizontal plane of reference for weight.
We'll put them all to sleep.
Happy Friday, Politics Discord servers. Good to be here.
Happy Friday. Hello, hello.
I was only in here a couple of days ago, so it's not like I'm a stranger. My screws came, Neil.
Your what?
My Neumann screws.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. This mic's now got 3 screws instead of 1. And I got a pop filter. So when I had a handheld Neumann mic, I took it to bits and it had a little pop filter that went inside the cage. And when I was ordering the screws to get to the minimum order amount, I was like, I'll buy one of them and I'll stick it on my daughter's gooseneck. Now I've got an extended pop filter range on the gooseneck that my daughter uses for her podcast. Very happy I am too. Mucking around with helping hands, like little crocodile clip things people use for soldering. I was going to buy one of them, and a thing called a popper stopper. But again, I was going to have to import it from the States and then jerry rig it with like these little crocodile clip things to sit in front of the tiny little capsule on the gooseneck mic, because it's smaller than a centimetre. I think it's 9mm. Anyway, so yeah, difficult to find something that will fit it. So finding that the Neumann pop filter fits perfectly over the Shure pop filter and works and completely deals with plosives. Fantastic, I was really pleased. Because it goes from you paying 12 quid or whatever it is to get 2 screws, because I bought one of the black random screw for a TLM 103, I think, and this pop filter just to get it up to the minimum order level. So had it not been something useful, you feel a bit robbed, like you've paid 12 quid for a couple of screws, which is strictly speaking exactly the case.
I hope those screws are worth it.
Well, it just looked a bit wrong before with only one screw holding the case of the mic over it. Now it's got all 3. It looks much better. And I'm sure I told you, but I got the other mic back from Craig. So he modified the circuit board of the E420, I think it's called. Make it sound like a Neumann. Sounds fabulous. Really does make all the difference. As it should, as they completely stole the Neumann circuit and just shoved it in their microphone.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yes, indeedy. Other than a couple of capsules, I'm just waiting for 2 more capsules for my daughter's rig, but all of the stuff that I use is now sorted. So my shotgun mic for this show, the one I'm using now, is obviously done. Those 2 screws are all I was waiting for on that. My voiceover mic, the 420 is now back, modified, working perfectly, on a nice stand, all ready to go. And my daughter's rig, which works, it's just she has to have the mic right next to her, which is a bit inconvenient. Same as me, I don't want the mic right next to me, it's claustrophobic. But yeah, other than a couple of capsules from my daughter's rig, I can stop talking about microphones now.
End of an era.
Yeah, it was pretty short-lived. Not like the acoustic treatment. Each piece of acoustic treatment costs almost as much as a microphone. And there's literally probably 100 pieces of acoustic treatment in here. But it's taken years to buy that. People just got just as bored and sick of me talking about acoustic treatment when I was purchasing it. At least the mic subject didn't last very long. 2 or 3 months.
You definitely put into your show. Nobody could ever say you don't.
Yeah. And I have to a certain extent, spend something on some stuff to write it off against tax. Realistically, if you were doing YouTube right and you weren't doing it for a living, I wouldn't suggest people upgrade their mic at all. Like, why? Unless it's making you money, why would you upgrade it? Write it off against tax, same thing. Why would you want to spend money? It's just a hobby, right? Different story if you're making money from it. Do you fire off an email by any chance, Adam?
Hey, okay. Give me one moment and I'll walk in so I can say it out loud.
Okay.
Okay, I got it. All right. So I wrote the email and then I clicked on contact the guy's name. And all that had come up when I clicked his name was contact the guy's name, but not clickable. And I was at a loss. So I pretty much had to go to PayPal and they made it right like really fast. So
Oh, they just
I got
refunded
it
you.
to you, hopefully.
Oh, bummer. I said it's a dodgy, shady company.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
We tried though.
Yeah, it was worth a try. In the meantime, I've got a different, slightly more, what would you call it? Grabby microphone. So I can put that slightly further away from the one that she's got currently. So no bad thing. I'm glad I ordered that second one.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for trying.
Sorry it didn't work out.
I wouldn't have known that unless you'd have tried, and then it would have been frustrating me that I could have got something that I really wanted for like $30 rather than $100. So it was worth a try. Sorry you had to piss around doing it. So, but if PayPal have made it right already, then I suppose that's good.
Yeah. I just noticed that, if there's no fight, it gets real quiet because like, hey, how you doing? I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
Say that again. One more time.
Well, I was just thinking. They seem to want to string this final experiment along, and that's kind of like, it's stupid. But at the same time, without the argument, without the fight, there's really nothing to do. But but learn how it's flat. You know what I mean? There's nowhere to go past once you know. But they're trying to go past expecting that it's a globe, and that's at least keeping them jumpy.
So you're saying it's just keeping the argument alive to keep the globe proponents busy? Is that what you're saying? Or preoccupied?
But without that, what have we got to talk about?
The Earth.
Without,
straight up,
the glober
we
and
talk about the Earth
argument from them.
Dude, I'm telling you that you don't need anti-flat earthers around here. They're not required. The only reason to keep them around is purely for the entertainment value. If they just fucked off and moved on with their life or did whatever they do, they would not be missed at all. We go on and we talk about the Earth just like we've always had, just like we always did. These people are obsessed with us. We don't care about them. No one's in here like sending them invites to come talk and trying to organize debates, trying to organize final experiments and challenges. It highlights how broken their worldview is. You'll get them on camera saying that flat earthers are X, Y, and Z. They're wrong. They're scum. They're human garbage. All these, they should be taken. They should not be allowed on the internet. And then on the backswing, say, well, since I don't think you should be allowed on the internet, let's debate on the internet as a proof they think you shouldn't be on the internet. It's just point and laugh. Their worldview is so deeply contradictory that they can't follow their own logic to a full conclusion. And so the only reason to keep them around is because, in a way, it shows the other people who might want to come in here and ask some sort of bad-faced questions, that is where you're headed. Do you want to be like that person? It's like kids, when you've got parents with like boys on the playground and two brothers are fighting and the other mom is over there, they tell the other boy, their boys, do you see how silly that looks? Do you see how ridiculous that looks? Fighting and acting like a bunch of monkeys in public. And the two boys like, yeah, Mom, we see it. Because, yeah, you get carried up in the situation and you don't realize how you look from the outside. And the globalists stay inside their echo chambers so they don't really get those feedback loops.
Domino's Pizza, can I help you?
Funny thing about the anti-flat
think you're
earthers is
right.
when you ask them to
it's for other
describe how
people.
Earth's measured, they will describe a flat Earth measurement.
That was the theme of yesterday's show. They already know it. And when they come across something that causes them a bit of cognitive pain because they have an awful truth to face, a flat Earth measurement, they'll start pointing at how stupid flat Earthers are with their example that they've suddenly had an issue with. So it's always projection. Yeah, a lot of these monkeys already know it's flat. That's why they're really here. Because then they can put that onto us instead of facing it themselves.
Yeah. The anti-flat earthers never, ever, ever have any globe Earth proof measurements. because there is none, obviously. But like I say, when they do offer it up, it's you'll find it'll be an angle measurement, an elevation angle measurement. It'll probably be referencing sea level and horizontal as well.
As is a nice little lull, I'll take this opportunity to explain why I'm here, what we're doing. If you're a regular, you'll know. But in about 10 minutes, I'll go live to an audience. Please do not swear. If you have any related questions to the subject of the nature of Earth, feel free to pipe up. Other than not swearing, that's the only really thing I've got stipulated. Just don't swear, that's it. Try to have fun. Don't have nightmares. Do sleep well.
Nathan, when you say the nature of Earth, does that include the lights in the sky?
Sometimes they make up our physical reality. We experience them, so I don't have an issue talking with the lights in the sky. Not talking with them, talking about them.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we do use them for elevation angle measurements, don't we? Of course, yeah, for navigation, finding location on the surface of Earth.
Yeah, mapping, things like that. So yeah. As it's a pretty busy server, was there anybody here that had any pre-made questions that they had? They were hoping to get answers? No? Well, it's going to be a quiet old day then, isn't it? So I'll assume everybody here's a flatty then. No globe believers in.
Even the globe believers are flatties, Nathan.
Yeah, they deep down know it, sometimes express their cognitive dissonance because of it. Oh, well, typically on a Friday, it's normally chock-a-block with globe believers, but obviously today is not that day. Well, that's fine. We'll talk
I
to you.
think we got a few in here, but they're not. We got a few in here.
No, they'd have said they'd have piped up, surely.
Fear does many things to the mind. Usually it does silence opposition when they're afraid.
You just call them yellow?
Yellow? What does that mean?
Yes, I did.
Those are fighting words.
Well, if it ain't gonna get him to talk, nothing's gonna work. I give up.
Well, we're here for a couple of hours. If anybody does have anything they want to ask, debate about, express their belief in regards to, feel free. Oh, I don't mind a nice, easy Friday afternoon. It's good by me. Are you all excited about Ballbusters on Saturday?
Yes, Nathan.
Yes, Nathan.
Me too.
What's happening on Ballbusters? Anything interesting?
I don't actually know. I don't run the show, really. It's mine in name only. So I don't know. It'll be fantastic. I'm certain of it.
Just a bit. So I was listening a little bit yesterday. I was laughing at the was it Professor Phil, and he was explaining about celestial navigation, how he brings the sun down to the horizon and rocks it, and then in his next breath he's saying the horizon's not used in celestial navigation. So funny. I just caught a bit of that.
Could be that we're carrying on with that. And what's his face?
Who's that?
Wolfie 6020.
Oh yeah.
They
Man.
brought their toys with them. Be ready. Everybody should come and watch this video.
Before you do, I have a question for one day.
Yep.
Was you told that there is horizontals on a globe and you need to stop talking about the 30 words you shouldn't say?
I'd have to take a while to explain the conversation, but I was in the 30-word description I've wrote down. My words are these are 30 words you can't use when describing how Earth curve is measured. And I was explaining to some people, I was going over that and just explaining that what I sometimes do is stop people in the tracks. And when they mention these words and tell them that there's no relationship between, well, the words I used then was horizontal has got nothing to do with curvature. So there was a difference in me saying, apparently, horizontal has got nothing to do with curvature. And the words that are in the 30-word list is, you shouldn't mention these words.
AJ, can you mute? AJ.
Earth curve.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, I think it was put to me, to cut a long story short, that these things can be entwined, and you can put a horizontal on top of a circle or a sphere and use that horizontal to measure the distance between the horizontal and the curve to measure drop over distance. But so I was sort of swayed away from the Earth curve because I may have used some words thereafter the 30-word description that we wrote down, and the way I worded it was not mentioning Earth curve. So that was how the conversation went. So it's a little bit of a.
Well, it's just that, just so you know, if the Earth was curving, such concepts could not exist. That's my point.
I do have a question for you guys from the chat, actually. We've got Fry and Omnivore arguing over who's asked the question. But the original question is Nathan the guy who thinks you can't take an elevation angle if the Earth is a globe? So, Nathan, on for you.
I think he's getting ready to start the show. I could be wrong.
We wouldn't be able to hear them guys. He was starting the show. He stepped away to get a coffee because he didn't think anybody had any guts to him, you know.
So you answer the
Of
question,
course, you
John.
cannot get an angle from a curved surface. You get angles to curved surfaces. You're retards. You're welcome.
Hey.
Hey.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Just before we started, or just before I had to close the line to do my live intro, I heard you discussing elevation angle descriptions. Was there a particular reason? I didn't catch the beginning of that, or the end of that conversation for that matter.
Yeah, there was a question in the chat directed towards you, Nathan. Are you the person that believes you can't take a elevation angle if the Earth is a globe? So that is from Omnivore.
Well, let's ask that question. Is there any evidence that you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline? Feel free to present it.
Such concepts could not exist if the Earth was a sphere.
Well, you wouldn't have a horizontal.
Horizontal is the.
Go ahead, Dwandek.
Just saying that the horizontal line is it's an antecedent relationship to the elevation angle. It's required. You wouldn't have the elevation angle without the horizontal baseline. It wouldn't exist.
Prerequisite. It's a nonsensical question to suggest that from a globe Earth you can even get an elevation angle. You can't. I suppose the answer is no.
Yeah, it marks elevation and angle.
It's part of the definition. In order to acquire an elevation angle, what are you acquiring it for? Navigation. Okay, so it's not the height specifically, it's the angle with respect to the surface you're standing on. That forms part of the angle, which is two straight lines. So if the baseline's curved, it won't give you an angle. Hence, it's a malformed question. Earth must be flat to acquire elevation angles. That's a statement of fact. It's not up for debate or discussion. Earth's flat to get these angle measurements. They form the basis of a globe belief that a lot of people hold. You can deny them, but then you won't have a globe to believe in because the base measurements of the globe start on a flat plane when measuring angles to stars. Earth's measured flat for a globe belief. It's just people don't know it yet.
Especially when you're using the sea sextant and you're establishing your horizontal with the horizon and using sea level for the horizontal baseline for the elevation angle, you are actually using the surface of Earth to establish that elevation angle.
Elevation angles, when described with respect to a globe, aren't ever described on the surface of the globe. Ever. They can't be. The guy asking the question or the girl asking the question doesn't understand how their belief in a globe works. Because you absolutely acquire elevation angles with respect to a flat planar surface. Even if you're in a globe, which is how they get described for heliocentrists. It's just showing ignorance of their own belief when they ask me questions like that. Like, you don't ever acquire elevation angles from a curved surface. That's ludicrous. Asking me whether or not I think you can't do it, you can't. You won't, and if you're describing an elevation angle with respect to a heliocentric globe Earth, it'll be inside it. Still on a plane. It's called the equatorial plane. So that person was ignorant.
It's almost like saying, can you have gas pressure without a container?
Is there any evidence you can have gas pressure without containment?
I think
No.
Rob's been wanting to answer that. If you're open to see if you can try.
He's going to answer that malform question. Heck yeah. Shoot.
All right, Rob, you're up. If you're still here, I don't know if you're AFK or not.
I'm here. I'm not going to talk. I don't want to get kicked out of this place, man. I just want to listen.
Dude, okay, you can talk. I'm saying just be respectful and playful. Just don't. You don't need to start talking about people. Just stay on topic.
I got you.
That's it.
Okay.
It's very easy.
Okay. Well, thanks for this chance. Okay. Hit me with the question so I can get it right this time.
Is there any evidence you can have gas pressure without a container?
Yes, there is actually. If you take an open container, you fill it with any type of gas you want, the pressure will be different at the bottom of the container than at the top of the container, even if it's open.
Do you need the question again? I heard the word container in your answer 3 times.
So if I have a container and I don't have a top on it, and I put some kind of gas in it to measure, the pressure will be different at the bottom of the container than relative to the top of the container.
I heard you the first time.
Even though it's open.
I heard you the first time.
Oh, sorry.
So I'll just repeat the question. Is there any evidence that you can have gas pressure without a container? So ideally, the answer won't involve the word container at all.
Yeah, definitely not thrice.
Oh, just one more thing. Making it 2 containers, they don't cancel each other out either.
Yeah, Rob, I tried that one. I called it a net container 0, and it didn't work. They didn't let me go with it either.
It's an antecedent consequent relationship. For the gas to be at pressure, it's got to press on something. Without containment, there can be no pressure. So to ask...
Agree. Yeah, agree. What about the fact that I have a hot air balloon?
That's a container.
But it's not a sealed container.
So it's a container.
So you're saying that pressure itself can be the container?
No, those words didn't cross my lips. You asked me what a hot air balloon, what about it? And I said, that's a container. You said, but it's an open container. I said, yeah, that's still a container.
Yeah. Well, the Earth is an open container. It's still a container, though.
Sorry, do you want to compare where oxymoronic sphere-shaped air has a fabric around it, like a balloon?
Well, I'm not really worried about the shape of it. I'm just saying, if Earth is a container itself, the atmospheric pressure and the gravity, then a balloon abides by the same natural laws.
Just nonsense and gibberish. Anything else other than the word salad nonsense that made no sense? Earth doesn't have a balloon around it. It's a violation of natural law in the worldview of a heliocentrist. It's just high pressure gas next to a vacuum without
It's
containment.
not high pressure, though. It's...
I'm responding to you. I heard what you said.
Sorry.
Okay. No worries.
What about?
Okay, so
What about something like a hot?
Who's talking?
Hot sidewalk.
Who's talking? Who's talking? Who's this guy?
It's me, Nate.
Nate, yeah. Nate, can you wait your turn? Thank you.
In conclusion, you can't have gas pressure without containment. It's an antecedent consequent relationship. Meanwhile, there's an assertion that there's a high pressure gas with no containment around it next to a vacuum. I can still hear somebody with their mic open. Is it just me? Dank, can you pop yourself on mute, Dank? Dank. Dank.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I guess it comes down to what you consider containers, then.
Not really. Is there any evidence you can have gas pressure without a containment? If you say yeah, just give us an example of gas pressure without containment, beyond a begging the question, pointing at the sky and suggesting that that gas has no containment, when that's the whole point. It's a violation of natural law to assert that you've got high pressure gas without containment, precisely as described in the heliocentric worldview.
Well, the fact that the vacuum of space, which I believe in, I shouldn't say I believe, which I know, is the container itself, because something can't go into nothing. So the vacuum isn't sucking anything off. It's an empty void. So therefore, the pressure of Earth and the atmosphere would never have anywhere to escape to, because you can't escape to nothing.
Yeah, you're fading facts. Gussy up to that mic when you violate the second law of thermodynamics by assertions that volumes are containers. No, empty volumes aren't containers. They're empty volumes. An empty volume is an area a gas can disperse into in line with entropic dispersion laws of nature. They're not containment. That would require a per inch value to press on. Vacuums don't have that. Your nonsense waffle is exactly that. Nonsense waffle. No, containers are containers. Vacuums aren't containers. They're volumes for gases to disperse into, and disperse into they will, because that's a law of nature. It's called entropy. The second law of thermodynamics describes how gas will disperse into a volume, always, without exception. So if the sky was a vacuum, an area, a volume, a gas could disperse into, in line with entropic law, then the gas we are breathing would disperse into it, in line with entropic law. Now, because we've got high-pressure gas, we must be under containment. There is not a sky vacuum above us. And your rebuttal that the sky vacuum is the container is just nonsense. I hope that's clear.
Well, no, I'm sorry. Gravity's a container. I'm just telling you why it won't disperse into space. It doesn't escape us, like what you're thinking. And to say that the Earth is actually a high-pressure system is not good at all. It's actually a low-pressure system surrounded by an even no-pressure system. So there's not really any pressures you're trying to fight against. That's why gravity works. That's why air is able to be constricted by gravity.
Gravity.
I know I should have said that, but yeah, like I said, because we don't actually say a physical container. I'm sorry, I'm almost done. We don't actually claim a physical container. We claim gravity as a container.
I heard you first time. What's gravity? Second time.
Gravity is the force that
No, it's
contains
not.
all of our
No, that's wrong.
atmospheres.
Stop. Incorrect.
Sorry.
That's wrong. Hasn't been a force for 110 years. You're wrong.
I disagree.
Is that it? Is that the end of this discussion?
Yeah, we're good. It's about to get too revved up for you.
No,
You start
not
yelling
really.
at me.
The end of the discussion comes at the point that you assert that the container is a gravity force, and I say no, it isn't. Gravity is not a force. End quote. George Musa, Scientific American editor. Or maybe Brian Cox, Professor Brian Cox. There isn't really a force of gravity at all, end quote, Professor Brian Cox. So just to reiterate, somehow you were responding as you were muttering about me not being able to bring it, or some shite that you waffled at me, mumbling. I'll say it with nice, strong tones. No, it's not a force, dumbass. Did you want to mumble something in rebuttal? I'm concluding. The sky's not a vacuum, space is fake. There is no force of gravity. That crap is 110 years out of date. Newtonian forces of gravity. What are you babbling about? No, there aren't any forces holding gas in containment. Gas is not going down, go boom boom, go splash splash at a 9.8 meters per second squared rate debunked 110 years ago. That's garbage. Do I make myself clear?
Yeah. Please don't swear on Nathan Oakley's live stream. We're live.
My name is Nathan Oakley. I run this live stream. What I got in response to me saying, no, gravity's not a force, was you muttering something about me not being able to cope. Now I'm telling you off, you stupid dumbass. When I destroy your shite about gravity being a force and tell you you're 10 years out of date, you think the response is to tell me not to swear? You dumb fuck. You're 110 years out of date, you stupid wanker.
We're live, dude. Don't swear, bro.
Stupid wanker. I do what I like. It's my show. Now, if the mods want to tell
It's
me
your
off for
rules.
swearing
It's
at you
your
for being a
rules. You said
dumbass
don't
that's now
swear.
talking through
You're breaking your own
you're not
rules.
responding. It's the third attempt for me to get you to concede. The shit you said incorrectly. But you're telling me off for swearing. It's because you're frustrating me. I'm having to swear at you because you're not acknowledging what I've taken apart. 3 times. You said it was a force, you dumbo. Now you're just yattering through me in defeat. It's not a force. You haven't acknowledged it once. I've put it to you 4 times. In rebuttal. And your response was to mutter that I couldn't cope, and now tell me off on my own bleeding show for swearing. No, dumbass. You're 110 years out of date. Were Moosa and Cox not good enough? What's that? Not swearing? Moosa! Gravity is not a force, end quote. Deal with it, you dumbass.
So you say Cox and the other guy. What about Einstein and Newton? Those guys ain't good enough for you?
Oh, I can quote
That's not a
Newton for
force.
you.
Einsteinian gravity isn't a force. So, what, are they not good enough? They're not asserting gravity as a force. Again, stupid boy, why do I have to correct you on your idiot assertions of non-Newtonian, bent pseudo-Riemannian fourth-dimensional space-time bending? That's Einsteinian gravity. Why have I got to correct you? Are they not good enough for a force that you're not right about, you stupid dumbass? That's the 5th time. No, this has got nothing to do with Einstein, you complete idiot. Do I have to tell you a 6th time that you're wrong, you stupid boy? I'm done with him. He's an idiot. He cannot concede where he's wrong. He's asked me if Einstein's not good enough when he, the idiot, isn't talking about Einstein bent pseudo-Riemannian space-time. He's just said it's a force. Oi, Dumbo! You want to acknowledge a 7th time, dumbass? Not a force. I don't need a response. That was rhetorical. I'm done with him. If he can't acknowledge the 1st, 5th, 6th time, why the hell would I have to keep going through it a 7th, 8th, 9th time? He can't concede his failure, his ignorance of his own stupid religion. He thought gravity was a force. Didn't seem to understand that he's 110 years out of date and wanted to battle his way through it with me and tell me I shouldn't swear. Fuck off.
Well, if you want to say Newton...
Oh, I didn't tell you you shouldn't.
Fuck off, you stupid retard. That means sit down, shut the fuck up. You're a dumbass. Nobody wants to hear your stupid shithead voice.
Thank you, Nathan.
Nobody wants to
your time.
hear you. You couldn't take part in the debate, yeah? Gravity's not a force, but you think you've got the right to chat through me, telling me I'm not going to swear at you more, you stupid retard. If you can't engage in the actual debate, I'll come down with me all the fury I can muster, yeah? Now, if you want me to be reasonable, tolerant, not swearing at you, engage with what I've said 8 times! Not a force! Hello?
Newton also said that anyone who would believe it is a force does not have a competent faculty of thinking.
Not a competent faculty of thinking. That sounds like Newton himself's describing people who suggest gravity would be a force, even in light of his own notions written down by him as being thick. Yeah, I thoroughly agree with Newton.
Yeah, it sounds like this guy. Newton was right.
Yeah, Newton was right. This guy's stupid. He thinks it's a force. He's wrong. Doesn't matter if I say it that's the 9th time. Yeah, we'll talk about how sweary I am, won't we? Next.
So I just want to clarify with the Brian Cox thing. Were you trying to make it seem as if he doesn't believe in gravity? Because I found the clip that you're referencing. He doesn't not believe in gravity.
That was very
He believes
stuttery.
gravity's a thing.
That was very stuttery.
Do you want to answer the question, or are you just
It
going to
wasn't a
attack
question.
me?
I had a lot of stuttering. I was pointing out how stuttery you were. He doesn't what?
That's an ad hominem attack, though, Nathan. You have to admit
No,
that.
it's just a statement of fact. You were stuttery.
I'm just trying to bring something up, and you're not addressing it now. You're trying to avoid the question.
You asked me if
And
I
please don't
thought he
stammer
believed.
through
Okay,
me when-
you asked me if I thought he didn't believe something. I don't divine the thoughts of Brian Cox. I can quote him though. I did. Meanwhile, you're asking me if I should or would divine his thoughts. Excuse me. Do you have a crystal ball for what Brian Cox would be believing in when he said those words I quoted? Because I'm pretty sure I just quoted him. Didn't speculate on what he might have been thinking or believing in. Did you have any other idiotic, stupid, nonsensical questions about what men's thoughts I can divine, sir? There you go, addressed your stupid question.
You admitted very important information, though. You admitted intentionally, I think, information I just want to make that clear.
What?
All right, you don't have to address it. It's fine, Nathan.
I did address it. I don't divine his thoughts. I quoted him. There isn't really a force of gravity at all.
That's fair. I can pull people out.
So that's fair then. So that's fair. So when I absolutely pulverised that clown that didn't address that 9 times, that's fair. Yeah, you're right. That's why I quoted him. It's fair to say he was wrong and I absolutely obliterated that globe-believing idiot with his stupid ignorance of his own dumbass faith. That's what I did. Okay?
Hold on. I don't want to explain this to you like you're a child, but you understand.
That's an ad hominem. Do you want to remove this asshole? That's making a statement of fact. He's an asshole. He ad hominem me. No, I'm not a child. I'm 44 years old. How dare you assert that I'm a child? That's an ad hominem. So you want to project your use of ad hominems, do you, sir? No, that's an ad hominem.
Don't act like
no, that's an ad hominem because you didn't address my argument, which is that I quoted him and wasn't going to divine his thoughts. I rebutted what you put to me. You used an ad hom. That's what you did. So yeah, gravity's not a force to hold gas here. Space is fake. There is no outer space sky vacuum, and there is no force of gravity holding gas in defiance of the second law of thermodynamics. No amount of obfuscation and requests for me to divine Cox's bleeding thoughts are going to change that there isn't really a force of gravity at all, end quote Brian Cox. Because there isn't. Hope that's absolutely and abundantly clear for the man with the malformed question asking me to divine another man's thoughts. How idiotic it would be to suggest that I could do such a thing. That clown, the man metaphor, ladies and gentlemen, the clown with his wig and his honky nose suggesting that I can divine another man's thoughts when I merely quoted him. That clown was just stupid.
I could say Brian Cox does not believe gravity is an actual force. Yeah, you would agree with that statement?
Well, that would be based on his quote, like specifically, though, verbatim what he said. You could extrapolate that without any shadow of a doubt because he said it, right?
Let me ask you it this way. If I quoted Donald Trump saying...
Could you address my argument? My argument would be the thing I would ask you to address my argument. My argument is that space is fake. The other guy obfuscated it 9 times. You've picked up the reins, and now you're obfuscating it. My argument, sir, is that there is no space. Space is fake. There's no spacemen. There's no ISS. There's no trips to the moon. That's my argument, because you've got a religion of a sky vacuum. Now, the other guy obfuscated it 9 times. You've attempted it once. Now I'm putting the argument to you, so we're not dancing around the argument like the other guy tried 9 times. Space is fake. I drew a conclusion, then you stepped up to the plate. That is what you will be expected to address. My conclusion. Space, outer space, the sky vacuum, that's a violation of the second law of thermodynamics. Gas fills space. Address that. No? Is it only when you're asking the question, sir, that you want to engage in conversation? It's only if you're in control of the discussion, right?
What your views are that space is fake? Well, I mean, you brought up Brian Cox. That's why I'm talking about Brian Cox. That's
feelings.
Yeah, I brought up Brian Cox in response to the guy that said gravity was a force as a rebuttal to an assertion that we can't have gas pressure next to a vacuum. So, in conclusion, there's no force of gravity. That's why Cox got quoted. And I'm inviting you to continue the discussion and argumentation about the fake space that would necessitate Brian Cox being quoted when he describes gravity as not really a force at all, end quote him. So perhaps you'd like to actually address the argument that was taking place.
I just think it's important to have a strong foundation to these conversations first.
I do.
So it's important to clear these things up.
Got it.
I did. So that's non sequitur word salad. I have a strong foundation when I say a second law of thermodynamics dictates gas-filled space. It's a description of that which occurs always. That is a strong foundation that you're talking through. Seems like this wanker's talking through me. Again, wanker. I'm going to call you a name because you're talking through me. That's wanker behaviour. So it's a description. It's a description that I'll invite the people who are in charge of this server and don't tolerate wankers talking through me. When I demonstrably rip apart their attempt to undermine my very strong foundation. utilising the second law of thermodynamics. You attempted, sir, to undermine my strong foundation based in the second law of thermodynamics. That's a law of nature. It doesn't get any stronger than that, sir, as a foundation. Did you want to yammer through me reiterating with the firmest of tone I can muster just how strong a foundation I have when I say the second law of thermodynamics dictates that there is no sky vacuum above our head? Gas would fill it. That's what that law, my foundational argument's based on, would dictate when it describes gas filling space. Did you want to tell me I don't have a very strong foundation rather than attack the actual argument? Did you want to talk through me like a total belligerent wanker before I've concluded or taken breath? Would it be better if you were addressing my argument before I've concluded and invited you to address that which I've said? Would it be better if you talked through it before I've concluded? I think it would be easier if you were addressing my strong foundation that you said I hadn't got in the middle of me relaying it, after you attempted to undermine it, you belligerent little twat. That's the second time you interrupted me readdressing my strong foundation based in the second law of thermodynamics. You said I haven't got. I have. It's very strong, sir. It takes a giant shit on the assertion we've got a space vacuum for a sky. We haven't. What's that? Gravity's held here by a force? The gas isn't going anywhere because of that gravity. No, that's why I quoted Cox, sir. That's where you stepped up like it was just Cox and his quote that we were talking about, and anything else was merely a weak foundation. So now we're back on track with my strong second law of thermodynamics violation of a sky vacuum and its strong foundation you attempted to undermine, sir. So would you like to address any of that? Now I'm finished.
Nate, would you be willing to can you give your take on what you think Cox is saying? What's your interpretation of it?
Why would we give an interpretation?
Yeah, why? It's a verbatim quote. I don't need to...
yeah, just see where he's coming from, what his foundation is.
Right, why? Because maybe not Cox.
Can I just explain something quickly about context? I know this is going to sound ridiculous, and I don't want to act like.
It sounds like the mod's giving you a lifeline, and you're going to obfuscate my question. It sounds like the mod's giving you a lifeline, and you're going to take that easy route rather than addressing the second law of thermodynamics foundation you said I hadn't got.
You guys are trying to close the book on one.
You said I hadn't got a foundation, and I made it abundantly clear with as much fury as I can, and you've now ignored it, but taken the mod's opportunity to explain what Cox says. I know what he says. I quoted him. Meanwhile, you said I hadn't got a foundation. I have. I just put it to you. I don't know why the mod did that. Nevertheless, address my foundation. Second law, mate. Address it. You said I hadn't got it. I have. I've just put it to you. Coward.
How about Brenda wants to apologize for some of the things she's probably
don't care. Don't
said
talk to
that
Brenda. She suggested I should have my children taken away from me. Do you think I give a shit what she says? Don't care. Meanwhile, the guy that I'm addressing, Crit.
Got it.
The guy that I'm addressing, I've reiterated 3 times, and you've given him a lifeline. I don't know why. Second law of thermodynamics has been addressed with Cox. We've dealt with it. But the guy attempted to undermine my argument that debunks outer space, the sky vacuum. He said I hadn't got a foundation. That's where he left off in this discussion with me. It's the 4th time I've reiterated my foundation in the second law of thermodynamics. It's a law of nature that describes gas dispersion into volumes of space. Ergo, there isn't a volume of space above our head. 5th time. Deal with it, sir.
Can we deal with his foundation then? You know, space is made up of length, width, and height. Where do you develop linear concepts on a sphere?
Yeah, I was hoping for the help here with Nate. Is sometimes he'll catch on once he says the weird thing. So when he gives his take or lack of it, like he'll try to articulate what he thinks Cox says, and when it comes out like a hot mess, sometimes he'll see the yield or the stop sign. So that
you want me to explain or no?
Yeah, well, just what you're instead of explaining, just do the legalese. What do you think he said, rather than what he actually said? What's your interpretation of it, and how is that a stronger foundation than natural law?
Oh my God!
I can't play this game anymore because I keep getting muted in here too. I can't fully explain what I'm trying to say without getting muted.
Oh,
It
no
does not
worries.
seem very fair.
No worries. The second law of thermodynamics and Cox's quotes aren't really that contentious. Second law describes gas dispersion, entropy, osmosis, things of that nature. Entropy, yeah? Entropy law. Second law, easy. Nothing contentious about it. Meanwhile, you think what Cox needs defending when it comes to a force of gravity that's not holding gas here, it's not a force. That's really simple stuff. My foundation, you said I hadn't got, is that law of nature and gas dispersion that debunks outer space. There is no outer space. There's no men in space. There's no trips to the moon. There we go. You can deal with that. Or not.
I'm just saying you're taking what I said incorrectly, because I did not say you didn't have a foundation. I said we should have a strong foundation.
I do. Very strong. I have a very strong foundation in the second law of thermodynamics and its description of how gas would fill space. That's a very strong foundation. Third, fourth, fifth.
It's immovable.
Can I just explain something simple for 30 seconds without getting
You could address what I've said, or take an easier route. No, I could just point out that you're a coward then. You don't want to address what I've said. Okay, coward. Yeah, do it. You like coward.
Okay. Weren't you the one getting upset about ad hominem attacks before?
So, second law of thermodynamics, my conclusion to the argument, as opposed to this little segue that is attempting to have, there's no outer space. It's fake. It's not real. Gas fills space. It's described in the law of nature known as the second law of thermodynamics. That's the conclusion to this discussion. There is no outer space, as opposed to it continuing with an obfuscation and no address from this man. He doesn't have a rebuttal. So we'll have a new discussion now that it's been concluded that space is fake, and there is no rebuttal from you.
So you're scared.
That's not a rebuttal. That's an ad hominem attack. The very thing he's accusing me of when I conclude the discussion. He's now going to chant through me summarising his fallacy. So you have used a fallacy and are now talking through me, pointing out to my live audience that you're using a fallacy in lieu of a rebuttal to the argument conclusion. And now he's talking to me, another tactic. It's going to be tolerated, it seems the mods are allowing him to talk straight through the top of me. He's used a fallacy, telling me that I'm scared. Now, that's not the same as me saying you're a coward when you don't address that, which I've been putting to you 8 times. You constantly yammering through is another cowardly move on your part. It's a description of your behaviour. What you're doing is cowardly. Saying I'm scared. No, I'm not. I'm concluding the argument. Your rebuttal to me concluding the argument was to tell me I'm scared. An ad hom. Dickhead. That's dickhead behaviour. Responding with an ad hom makes you a dickhead. That's not an insult. It's a performance assessment. So, space is fake. That little obfuscation didn't work either. I'll just reconclude because he didn't have a rebuttal. I'll point out again that he didn't have a rebuttal because he didn't. His only rebuttal was to tell me that I was scared. No, I'm not scared when I detail gas filling space as described in the second law of thermodynamics. Gas fills space. Oh no, I'm terrified. No, that's stupid. What an idiotic response. Meanwhile, dispersion of gas into volumes, described in the second law of thermodynamics, debunks outer space. Simple. There is no outer space. It's fake. That man doesn't have a rebuttal. All he has is ad homs. Next.
So Nate, do you understand when Brian Cox says gravity is not a X? Do you think he's saying it's X or not X?
I understand that, yes. But can I finish my statement, or is this just going to be a one-sided conversation?
Could you address the
we can be serious here and
so are you only going to take low-hanging fruit?
Nathan Oakley.
Are you only going to take? Is that a rhetorical question?
Nate,
are you going to be flapping your lips at me?
You asked a question.
Nate, this is what you do: address the topic and don't be fallacious. Just use what you think, and without jumping into some. Like, if you think Nathan's doing something wrong, don't act like what you think he's acting like, because then you're confessing that you think what you're doing is wrong. It's so weird to say that. Say if I think my neighbor is wrong for putting a fence up, and then I put a fence up. What do you think that says about me, not my neighbor?
Well, if someone points a gun at me and I point a gun at them, who's at fault here? I wouldn't fault you for putting a fence up if your neighbor put a fence up because you're doing it in retaliation.
You can address the second law of thermodynamics.
Yeah, it's not addressing
No, this is a. Yeah, you're missing the point. You are inside a volunteer interaction. This is not a. Okay, so
That's fair. That's different now, though, right?
Okay, yeah.
We're explaining something different now.
So will you address the topic without doing something that you think is wrong?
So with that being the foundation here, with you guys controlling space, and I completely understand it's not my space, I will therefore not continue this conversation because clearly I just get muted whenever I try to explain my side of things.
No, you haven't got anything to
I'm good.
explain. You haven't given a rebuttal to the second law of thermodynamics violating outer space sky vacuum you think spacemen are in. You haven't got anything to respond to that with. But what you can do is say, I'm not going to take part when you're given free rein. The mic was yours for a couple of minutes ago. Nobody interrupted you like you interrupted me repeatedly. Because you're a scumbag who needs to interrupt when I highlight the very strong foundation I have in the second law of thermodynamics, the thing you can't respond to. So what, you're going to step back because you're getting muted? We heard you telling us that you're getting muted, so that's stupid. What a stupid thing to say when we could hear you clearly. You could have used that opportunity to address my winning argument that space is fake and my evidence that's strong and foundational as you interrupt again. Is that your mute button that you're using on me there, sir? It seems like the opposite of what you're suggesting is actually true. It seems like when I talk about my winning argument, I seem to get muted by you, talking through me. What a wanker. And yet you cry foul like you're getting muted when we heard you in an opportunity to address the second law of thermodynamics violating sky vacuum you believe in, that I have destroyed with a very strong foundation and a description of osmosis, dispersion of gas, those things that are entropic in nature. I'm reiterating them slightly slower because I won multiple times. But what's that you say? You got shut down with the mute button? Well, how the hell did we hear you telling us about it then? Oh, was it in lieu of your opportunity to rebut what I said? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what you had in rebuttal, to moan about being muted in a clear, unimpeded bit of air. That's stupid, isn't it, sir? Meanwhile, space is still fake. There's no spacemen. There's no ISS. There's no people on the trapeze stage that you think are out in a sky vacuum. There's no orbital motion. There's no trips to the moon. There's no gold discs flying off far, far away. It's all bollocks. You just don't have any rebuttal to that statement of fact that I've concluded with a few interruptions from you trying to mute me and ignoring it and not rebutting it. Next.
I don't think I muted you, did I? And also, do you understand the idea of telling someone something after the fact? Like how I can't say I'm muted while I'm muted?
That's almost as good as a rebuttal to the second law of thermodynamics violating sky vacuum that makes. Maybe this is you muting me, sir. Maybe when you asked me if I'm being muted, that was what you're doing right in this second. That is you muting me, sir. You're talking through me as I talk. That means you're impeding what I'm saying when you're getting completely unimpeded air and having to be impeded by a moderator because you're a wanker. And when I talk, you feel it's necessary to talk straight through the middle of me before I've asked you a question. Because when you detect one might be coming your way, like how do you respond to the violation of the second law of thermodynamics that is your sky vacuum you think spacemen are in, the response will be, I get muted. I'm not going to take part in this discussion. Because that's what you've got in response, mate, which is to say nothing. You don't have a response. Space is fake. That's the conclusion. I'll keep giving it and pointing out to my audience that every time I point that out, you don't have a response. You can moan and ask me about whether or not I know our conversation should take place. That was your last response. I'm assuming that him yattering through me was met with the server moderators having enough of him yattering through the top of me and put him on server mute because they were sick of him using his mute button on me. Correct?
Yeah, I was hoping to move on to another caller. Seems like it just isn't going anywhere.
Omnivore wants to talk about elevation angles.
Sorry, I stepped away to answer my front door. What's going on?
Yeah, he's probably not here. He's been joining the VC, but like having it muted. And so that way he thinks that allows him to just type shit in text chat. He's got a very poor understanding of anything anyone tells him.
Don't know who you're talking about, but fine.
But why he wants to talk about elevation angles? Why doesn't he want to talk about his Earth curve measurements?
Which ones? There aren't any.
Well, I know that. They all want to talk about elevation angle measurements. Surely, if they believe this globe and they think they've got measurements to it, surely they'd want to talk about that. But they don't seem to want to do that.
Well, there's 100 people watching this live stream, so I have no issue whatsoever if we are sat in perpetual silence, because there's nothing for any globe believers to offer other than moaning about mute buttons and then talking through me summarising the conclusion of a space that's fake over and over again, asking me about whether or not I understand whether or not they're using their fundy mute button with me. Yeah, they are absolutely using a fundy mute button when I destroy space. Outer space is fake.
No, there you go. I was about to say, don't attack space. That's length, width, and height. But them are linear concepts, Nathan. Why are they appealing to space?
Outer space, the sky vacuum. But yes, the linear length, breadth, and depth is something that could only really occur if you've got a flat plane beneath your feet, if you're going to describe it in any practical application with respect to the world we live in. That space is ours. They won't be using that space. That's not a globe space, is it? That's a flat Earth space. Euclidean.
Is there any other space?
No. But there is a belief in a sky vacuum, outer space. That's definitely not real. It violates the second law of thermodynamics. What's that you say? I hear a wonderful rebuttal. I'm not going to take part in this conversation. You'll just mute me. Oh, what a fantastic rebuttal. It's almost like you brought the spacemen back into reality with that. What a fantastic debate we've taken place.
Well, I was just pointing out, since he wanted to make, talk to foundational, understanding what his foundation was. It's all of them's foundation. They lost respect for it.
Yep. See what he did
About
there.
earlier today.
Go ahead. Sorry, Crit.
Okay. Earlier today, we had a sort of an impromptu discussion about zetetic astronomy. I'm not sure if you've ever given a take on it, or just if you got one at all. Like, where do you see that fitting in like this discussion?
What is zetetic astronomy?
Well, it's sort of like the same way that you use zeticism for the Earth, and then using the same method and practice for the sky.
Which is what?
Does it tie in? Well, just what you observe, like what you see is what you get. They're kind of like the real short version of it.
Okay. I don't have an opinion in that regard. It sounds a bit loose and fast. Measurements aren't.
Yeah, that's
what you see.
That's generally what I thought you were going to say. I just was wondering where you're at with it, because maybe sometimes people surprise you, and they might give a completely different take than what you would expect.
Maybe. I mean, if people want to lean into measurements, it doesn't get any more empirical when it comes to physical measurements of the surface of Earth. That's about as strong as you can get for evidence. So there's a zetetism, a bit of a mouthful, of the past is fine for Robotham. It's just, that's not what we lean into when Earth is measured flat. That's far more cut and dry. But if you're going to say, well, it looks flat, therefore it is flat, we've lent into that standard in years gone by. So if you want to call that a zetetic standard that we used to adhere to, then I'd put my hand up and say guilty.
Yeah, the only problem with that is looks can be deceiving.
Or like beer goggles.
Yeah. Or, like say you're on a non-inertial plane of reference and you're spinning and someone throws a ball in an inertial reference frame over your head. Is that ball curving?
I'm going to go with yes.
If you're going to hold to the zeticism, you would have to. Yes, that's correct.
What is a person that believes in zeticism, if I could even say it? Is it a zeticist? How do you even say that word? that is that person. As a teticist? Is that what you'd call him?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, maybe. I guess it depends on the context. Like, if they're advocating for that, then they would be a ethicist.
That's the one. You said it better than I did. Well done. A zeteticist.
Zeteticist.
Only when you come to actually say it do you go, oh, it's harder than it seems. Wrapping your lips around that one.
I need to get to
Yeah,
the
I guess it
dentist.
would. It'd be interesting, like if someone were to say they practice oh, now I did it. That says, but then they also advocate that for being the only thing you do. It would almost be like a contradiction. They would be advocating for like a globalist zeticism. Like only that is allowed. No other forms of inquiry are allowed anymore. It's almost like they would like level up the globalist agenda to be, you all must accept this one idea. Otherwise, the own idea contradicts it. Well, I know it might sound like a word soup there, but basically what I'm saying is the globalist worldview has baked in explanations to how to handle disagreement, how to explain flat earthers, and they ignore it. They throw their own model away as soon as they have to explain any level of disagreement. They're science deniers.
I get what you're saying because you're describing an anti-flat earther when you say they'll deny their own nonsense if it's contradicting a flat earther's opinion. We call those anti-flat earthers, but you said it's baked in. What do you mean it's baked in?
What's baked in were like Carl Sagan had said his interpretation of the pale blue dot, that you're all interconnected. The greatest hero and the most cowardly villain, the best statesman and the most anarchy person, you're all together. It's all one humanity on one planet. There's no difference between you or anyone else. Like the amount of difference between the very smartest person and the very dumbest person in a cosmic sense is virtually zero. And what the globalists will do is they'll come into that conversation and be like, Carl Sagan's a complete idiot, because to understand the globe, you have to point down at other people that they are uneducated when their own model suggests there is no difference between the two groups of people. It'd be like a zeteticist saying, my personal take and your personal take are all personal takes, but only their personal take should be accepted. It's a hard contradiction and a complete breakdown in their worldview, showing that they will deny what the experts say. Like they'll say, hey, flat earthers, you need to listen to all these people with all these degrees, and then they don't listen to them. You're like, why would I? Why should I listen to Carl Sagan if you don't listen to him?
Okay, so yeah, you're using Carl Sagan, which is fine. We tend to use Neil deGrasse Tyson in those examples, with the anti-flat earthers throwing him under the bus completely in terms of his rhetoric. And he's a high priest. That's not to say that sometimes Tyson can behave like an anti-flat earther and deny his own rhetoric. But for the most part, he's a pretty good high priest, right? Most of what he says is just standard fair globe belief. But if it doesn't comport with what a flat earther's disagreeing with or showing to be wrong, then they'll happily put forth an anti-globe and anti-flat earth rhetoric in the face of what the flat earthers put forth to debunk Tyson, and therefore throwing Tyson under the bus in the process.
Yeah, that's another good one too, where Tyson had said, with flat earthers, like, hey, don't worry about it. There's always going to be people who disagree with you. Keep looking up. And the globalists will sit there and argue against that. Like his whole show about Star Talk and using your imagination, finding the way to communicate with other people, and they just ignore it. They just pretend like none of this stuff ever existed. That there wasn't any sort of concept of Star Trek or Star Wars or these fantasy worlds out there where people solve problems and use like other ways of communicating with each other. They just pretend like none of that exists, and just day in, day out, they completely freak out that there's a couple of people online minding their own business for the most part. Like, they can't even take the day to contemplate why their worldview is so broken and just try to figure that part out. Figure your figure your stuff out, and then come here and talk about how flat Earth doesn't fit into your cosmology.
Will you accept $100,000?
They can't.
I'll give you $100,000 to not talk, Brenda.
Will you accept defeat, Brenda, when you can't get elevation to increase every single millimeter or inch horizontally?
Who cares? Why
You
are we
guys don't-
addressing her?
Yeah, don't chase it. Someone, her mute must have expired, and someone else got it quick.
I'm just saying they all should concede. That's all. Whoever they are, anybody, all the ones who have no point, like Omnivore and all of them, they all. They keep mixing up their cosmology with ours. That's the problem. They're like, yours has to interpret ours. They say flat Earth has to be interpreted in their way with their stuff or else. And why can flat Earth work without working the way that their stuff works? Like gravity and all the magic and all the different things the way they say it does. And they keep confusing it. And that's the problem. And then they point at everything. They have no reference for the thing they're talking about, their own thing. They don't have, so a reference for a stationary thing. Do they have that to compare if they think everything's always, always, always moving on their ball? No. So in that case, they've never seen anything stationary to say whether the thing would be or not. If the thing they are on is stationary and they don't know it, it's the same principle. Then they're saying they're moving, but they're not. So then have they ever been on a moving thing? No, they don't have a reference.
But
They're on a
that's their
stationary
problem,
thing.
D-Mark.
No, I know, but I'm saying, how do we, why do they keep doing that?
It's worse than that, mate. They measured the Earth flat and claim it's a globe.
Exactly, that's the problem. You see, if somebody told me they didn't want to talk to me, all I got to do is say that one time, and I'm done. Why do these people keep coming back trying to engage with Nathan? Why?
Because I'm here as a guest specifically for that. That's why. They're being invited to
No.
now.
I'm talking about certain people like Brendan.
Oh, those people are just in pain.
Exactly. They're in pain because they know that what they believe is nothing.
They want you to surrender to
Nothing can exist.
Exactly. Their globe can't exist because it's nothing.
And cosmology, astronomy, and astrophysics are all demonstrable pseudosciences. So whatever word you put out in front of it, it's not going to change. They're all demonstrable pseudosciences. So just blow that off. Yeah. Zetetic astronomy, what is that? Give an example of zetetic astronomy. Whoever.
Also, there was an appeal to them having a model to argue from. We'd like a demonstration or a presentation of that model.
When did that come? That must have slipped me by.
Yeah, the models always slip you by.
Zetetic astronomy, waiting for an example. Just one.
I would be happy with the definition of zeticism at this point.
Is it as a
It means
the person who
it means to
practices that
seek.
which has yet to be defined?
Yeah, it means to seek.
Seek.
Yeah.
That's deep.
That is deep. To seek and thou shalt find.
What we sneaking?
I just looked it up. Scientism derived from the Greek word zeteo, meaning to seek. You're all over it, Crit. Is a system of scientific inquiry, really, that emphasizes experimentation and observation over pre-existing theories, aiming to base conclusions solely on what is observed. It's a quite muddled picture. It has some good words in it. Let's get an example.
They muggled, like Harry Potter,
Muddled.
the Seeker.
Not muggled, muddled. It's
Oh,
a
sorry.
muddled composition.
That was a Harry Potter reference. Because he's a seeker.
He's a seeker.
Yeah, it
They
goes
call
after
me Seeker.
Goes after the snitch.
Isn't that a Who song?
No, it's a Harry Potter subplot.
The space cowboy. They call me a seeker.
Yeah, there's another one, Space Cowboy.
Call me Nathan.
Who's that space cowboy?
Billy Joe and Bobby Sue.
Oh, that's
What if
Don't
you-
tell me. Don't tell me. Oh,
Okay, we
What if
won't.
you continue to seek after you found?
oh, what's the name of the group though?
Just told us not to tell you.
Steve Miller Band.
About time. I was growing a ZZ Top beard.
I usually got it with music. And by the way, John, you're lucky you weren't in front of me yesterday. Not QE. Refracted.
It's not refracted. It's reflected. You just been P-jumped.
No.
I thought he changed it back.
Changed it back.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Did, yeah. You're not exactly Mr. Current Affairs, are you?
I'm looking at his name. Hold on. I'm looking at his name in this hangout, and it has REFLACTED. That's reflected.
Ah, you
It
lied to us,
appears
John.
you haven't been keeping up on current events.
Yeah, he's got us there, Nathan.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he? I take it back, John. You're right. QE. I'm sorry.
Which John?
You. Quantum Eraser. I'm sorry, I was wrong. You are correct. I stand corrected.
What's new?
Wait. What
What's
did Bob
new?
the Science Guy call you?
About to say, there's
Instead of
always a first
quantum
time.
eraser?
I couldn't hear you, Neil. You're being rumpus by the show host.
Well, he takes precedence. So what were you saying, Nathan?
Nothing else. I was just making a joke. It doesn't matter, Neil.
So, in politics, let's try this again. Somebody belly up, cowboy the heck up. What is your bestest scientific evidence for your globe?
Come on, Nate.
Strong, you didn't hear me? Cowboy the heck up. Let's get this show back on course. What is your bestest scientific evidence for your globe? Simple question.
Supposed to be doing the music, Nathan.
The music. Right, time's up. There isn't any. QE, that's a malformed question.
Don't you give that up. When I first came out here, it was the whole body of science.
Just toying with you now, globe believers. it's measured flat, even if you're a globe believer. If you're new here, you might not be aware of these things. But it is literally game over. I mean, now that I recognise this, I shorten the time for the world at large to find this sort of stuff out. We've got the internet. No amount of censorship will change the obvious and observable facts about the world you live in. It is always, without exception, measured flat. There are no examples of the globe ever being utilised or measured in any way, shape or form. In fact, quite the contrary, the measurements that are asserted to be globe measurements are also flat earth measurements. So it's a done deal. You do live on a flat earth, in case you didn't know. I'll be the first to tell you. My name's Nathan Oakley, 1980. It's also my PayPal address.
Let's try a simpler question. How do you have horizon on a globe tart?
Did she say globe tart? How can you have a horizon on a globe is the question on the table for anybody who wants to play.
By obstruction.
Shout out to Sensual Goat. He says, have a great weekend, everyone, except for the ballers. Thank you for the super chat.
That's what he said, except for the ballers.
Except for the ballers. That's what he said, yeah. Thank you for the super chat.
Hey, you going to add the show for tomorrow?
Oh, I can plug the Ballbusters. I did it on yesterday's show. I took a chance that it would actually be the case that we'd have a Ballbusters. So I said yesterday, be here or be sphere on the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel, as there will be a Ballbusters.
What's it about?
What's Ballbusters about?
It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be part 2. McDuffie and Major Idiot Wolfie 6020 Clown Show. Ground control to Major Idiot.
Somebody's got to clip out that movie Slapshot when Paul Newman sees the Hanson brothers playing with their toys in the hotel room. He comes back in, he says, they brought their effing toys. That's what we got to put for these guys.
Back to the question. Ballers, how do you have a horizon on a globe with sugar on top?
By obstruction. I told you already.
there's a voice, incoherent voice from the past. Is the shoe a hypothesis?
No, shoes are part of your phenomenological experiences.
No, you said shoe was a hypothesis. We got you recorded.
Yeah, the hypothesis is that it's a shoe and not a cake.
You did it again.
Ah, you're dumb.
Neither shoes or cakes are phenomena.
That's right. Could it be a cake, though?
There's not something happening. Phenomena is something happening.
It could be. It could be, right?
Can a shoe be a cake? Could be.
No, could your phenomenal experience of a shoe actually be a cake?
Can't even spell it.
Of course it is.
Go find Zanuck and have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
Just read Kant on phenomenology.
Just read this. According to the slope-intercept formula, y equals mx plus b, all horizontal lines which are derived from horizon have a rate of change of slope of 0. Baltard's IQ, collective. Unfortunately, the United States Naval Academy defines curvature as the rate of change of slope of non-zero. So how can we go out in reality, see horizons everywhere that have a rate of change of slope of 0, but yet be told by the glue-sniffing, heliocentric, Baltard-spinning space monkeys that we got to have rate of change of slope of non-zero along a tangent from our feet in every direction? Reconcile that.
The horizon is caused by the Earth gets in
I didn't ask what the horizon is caused by.
That's what it's caused by.
I didn't ask that. Red herring fallacy.
Grandpa Fiddlebones here if anybody here has any questions for me or anything.
Okay then. Who are you, Wolfman Jack?
Sure.
That's that whoop that jack. Whoop that
Question,
jack
or
at a different voice.
if there's any comments for me,
Sure.
I'm here to answer them.
Can you have gas
You
pressure
could
without?
consider this like an AMA sort of thing.
Sure. How can you have gas pressure without a container?
It takes energy to leave the Earth's gravitational field. That's why.
Shut up! You're not Grandpa Fiddlebone. You're a moron.
It does. It
Shut
takes
up.
energy to
Grandpa,
leave the Earth's
shut up.
We
gravitational
have
field.
gravity.
That's
Shut up, glue sniffer. It's Grandpa Fiddlebone's turn.
It takes energy to
Shut
leave the
up.
Earth.
My God,
That's
shut
I believe
up.
they're
That's
asking
why
me a
we have an
question, sir.
atmosphere. We have
Oh
an
my God!
atmosphere
Atmosphere is
because
a
it takes
paradox. Atmo
energy.
means air is a gas.
No, it's
Spheres are
not.
shaped gases have no inherent shape. You'd fail first grade intro to
takes
gas behavior.
energy.
By the way,
It takes
shut
energy
up.
to leave
Shut
the
up.
Earth.
It's
Shut
like you want to be
up.
muted. You're not in the conversation, Brenda.
Somebody mute her.
You could ask me
Trying
a
to hear
question
this.
about gravity, about eggs.
I did just
We
ask
already
you a
asked
question.
you a question, glue
Right,
sniffer.
Let's do
How
with
do you have
Grandpa.
gas pressure without a container? Is the question.
There you go.
Like I said, you could ask me any question
We
about
just did.
gravity,
Oh
the
my
globe,
God.
Just did.
eggs.
We just did.
What?
You want it a third
What's
time?
the question, sir?
I just did. You're obviously deaf.
Nathan, have you heard
And
of
before
Grandpa
I've finished
Fiddlebone?
saying this sentence, he's talking through me. So, Grandpa Fiddlebone's an asshole. We've asked you 3 times.
Whatever do you mean
and you're
by
now
that?
talking through me again while I point out that we've asked 3 times and you're not answering the question. You're talking through me.
I'm asking
So
a
just
clarification.
remove Grandpa Fiddlebone, who's an asshole. So, comedian asshole, you've been removed from the discussion. You could have taken part in the discussion with me, but you're a prick who are here to cause confusion. That's your only obfuscation tactic. Clearly a dumbass. Didn't have any debate. You just had a tactic. I'll be an idiot and talk in a funny... Oh, yeah, you're a wanker. Get lost, wanker. So is this it? Just comedians to defend the globe religion? You've got allegedly billions of people who think they're on a spinning ball flying through a sky vacuum, and the best you've got to defend this shit is Grandpa Fiddlebone. You having me on? Oh, I can talk about gravity. Yeah, we tried that with the other dickheads that had been here, Grandpa Fiddlebone. They didn't want to know. Me pointing out that we've got dispersion laws, second law specifically. You can point that out to you blue in the face. Doesn't mean that anybody's going to ever acknowledge it from the globe side. You guys have got a religion to maintain. So Grandpa Fiddlebone can tell you about gravity, can he? Yeah, we're all well aware of what gravity is, thanks. Yeah. Doesn't change how fake space sky vacuums are. That was what we were hoping to discuss with Grandpa Fiddlebone. He just wasn't going to play ball, was he? How do you have gas pressure without a container? That asshole, Fiddlebone, that is, had it put to him 3, now 4 times. We'll give maybe one more opportunity, Grandpa Fiddlebone.
Well, like I said, you could ask me any question you like. I'm here to answer
Dickhead,
questions. I'm
wanker,
here to...
asshole. How do you have gas pressure without a container? It's not like you've had it 4 times, 5 times. 5. Need 6.
But you're talking to me and not somebody else. I'm just trying to get some clarification here.
Yeah, you're stupid.
I'm just trying to understand who you're referring to right now.
You, Grandpa Fiddlebone. How do you have gas pressure without a container?
But can you confirm you're talking to me? Is that it?
Yeah, you're a dumbass. You've been removed from the discussion. You one-trick pony. Your joke was funny once. Meanwhile, outer space is fake. There is no sky vacuum. There's no men in a ISS tin can that need rescuing. Oh, did some of you Americans feel nostalgic for that utter crap that you got fed? If you were believing that crap, you were duped. It just makes you stupid. My name's Nathan Oakley. I'm the one calling you stupid for believing that men got rescued from a sky vacuum in a tin can called the ISS. You believing that crap is hilarious to me. Yeah? I'll mock you. And how gullible you are if you believe that. So maybe I can put a question to you panel members here in Discord. Did any of you guys who believe in a globe believe that there was guys in a tin can being rescued recently? Were you gullible enough to believe that? Anybody on the globe side of the discussion?
what I think what's interesting about that is Butch, whatever, I can't remember his last name, Williams or something. He thanked Jesus for it. He said, like, hey, what do you want? You're back on Earth. Is something you want to say? He's like, I prayed every day for Jesus to save me from low orbit. And then people are like, well, don't you want to thank Musk and Trump for saving you from, like Biden left you up there? Isn't that who saved you? He's like, no, Jesus saved me. And then you're like thinking, well, now that the atheist, they think that the astronauts are all atheists too for some reason. This guy's telling you Jesus saved him from outer space.
Reminds me of a joke.
Hey, just being a blasphemer.
Well, it reminds me of a joke, but it was probably in poor taste when it was told originally, but I just won't make any references. So there's a guy with waters rising all around him, and everyone around him's evacuating, they're leaving their homes, and they're saying, come with us, Bob, you need to come, you're going to get washed away in the water. And he's like, no, Jesus will save me. I'm staying exactly where I am. So he stays, and the water comes in, it starts coming over the porch and through the front door. He's like, oh. Guy comes wading past in big wellies, and he's like, I've got a spare pair of waders here, Bob. Just come with me. Come, you'll get washed away in the flood. Bob's like, no, Jesus will save me. A couple of days go by, and water's raised up to the first floor. Guy's in there. As a boat comes by, a little paddling dude, one of his neighbours who happened to have a little dinghy. He's like, Bob, oh, thank God, I've saved you. I didn't know you were still here. My God, it's a good job I'm here. Come with me, jump in the boat, I'm going to save you. And he's like, no, don't be so hasty. Jesus will save me. He's like, are you nuts? Jump in. No, Jesus. It's all right, I'm out of here. Right, a couple more days go by, and Bob's on the roof of his house, and there's a helicopter flying over, and it sees Bob on the roof of the house, and he's like, sir, grab hold of the ladders, we will save you. And Bob's like, from the top of the roof, it's all right, Jesus is going to save me. The helicopter's like, you're nuts. So the helicopter flies away, and sadly, Bob drowns. But he's been a really good guy, so he goes up to heaven, right? And Bob's like, what's going on? Why am I here? And Jesus stands before him and he says, well, why do you think you're here? You died. He says, well, why didn't you save me? He says, I sent your mate with the waders, I sent the guy with the boat, I sent a bleeding helicopter.
You were supposed to write Jesus on the helicopter, and then he would have been like, okay, Jesus.
Right, any more for any more. I'm going to be thanking politics for having us.
No, you will not.
I'm being told what I'm going to do. Now, we'll stay a little bit longer. Is there any other questions in regards to the nature of Earth? If you don't know it's measured flat, I'll tell you. Earth's measured flat. You're a globe believer, it's still measured flat.
Can a basketball be measured flat?
No. Unless you deflate it.
Is it deflated Earth now?
And if it doesn't spontaneously inflate, that violates the second law of thermodynamics, according to Left the Foot.
But just to answer the question, no. But we're not measuring basketballs when I say Earth is measured flat. I mean, I'm specifically referencing Earth and how it's measured when I say that, as indicated by me saying Earth.
Well, I just wanted to point out.
Excuse me, Mr. Nathan. Mr. Nathan, this is Grandpa Fiddlebone. I have a question
Come on,
for you,
Fiddlebone.
sir.
Come on, Fiddlebone. Relax, man. I was just about to. Let me get mine out, then you can hop in. Hold on, Fiddle. I mean, I don't need to measure the basketball to know it's a ball, though.
Okay, well, you'll do well in the basketball factory.
You laughing isn't a good look, dude.
Wilson?
Wilson! Yeah, but if you're ever trapped with a ball on a deserted island, it would be useful to understand how navigation works. Then you might be able to find where you are. Having a sextant would be dead handy in those sorts of circumstances. Obviously, you'd have to have a good appreciation of how Earth is measured flat. Then you could find where you are, and you might be able to find your way home.
What if I'm in the southern hemisphere?
Still do the same thing in the southern hemisphere. Same thing. You can still measure angles to stars in the southern hemisphere. That hemisphere is a view of the heavens hemispherically.
But I can't see Polaris there.
Do you want to address what I've just said to you? In the southern hemisphere,
Yeah, I am.
The southern hemisphere of stars over a flat plane when you mathematicize that description with mapping and navigation. But it's still measuring angles on a flat plane in a system that's flat for measuring stars and the angles to them in the south. So it's the same. That's my answer to your question. Okay. Could you acknowledge that we still measure Earth flat in the south? Because that's what you asked me.
Well, I don't want to acknowledge that because I don't believe that, but I will say this. I will say then what's
wanker, can you shut this asshole wanker up? Because I've just addressed his fucking question. And what's he done? He's pissed down my back. He's just pissed in my face. He just addressed it. Shut him up, because I'm furious. I am sick and tired of wankers. You just asked me how it worked in the fucking south, and I told you, you stupid asshole. Did you acknowledge it? No, you pissed in my face as a thank you, didn't you, you asshole? Yeah, we still measure angles with respect to a hemispherical dome of the heavens, the stars, described when mapping them on a flat plane for the angle measurements to the stars. Now, I'm repeating it for my audience's benefit because you asshole, you're not fucking acknowledging it. You're a prick. You're the type of shithead that we have to deal with. Somebody who thinks they've got a clever question about how the southern hemisphere works. And when I point out that that means we're describing the angle measurements to a hemispherical view of the stars over a flat plane and ask you to acknowledge what I've graciously answered you with, you chant through me because you're a wanker. Fuck off, you stupid wanker. Yeah, you get my disdain, globe-believing assholes. When I take the time out of my day to educate you, you ignorant pricks, I expect to thank you. I don't expect you to piss in my face when I gave you the answer that you've asked for. How's it work in the southern hemisphere? I told him, didn't I? Did I get a thank you for it? No, I did not, did I? No. Yeah, what I got is disrespected. So I'll disrespect him back in the exact same way. I'll swear at him, use foul language, just treat him like a piece of shit. Because that's what he did to me when I answered his bleeding question. Now, I respectfully answered his question, didn't I? Now, I expect a bleeding acknowledgement from you globe tossers. Don't expect you to say, well, I don't believe that. Believe what? The absolute fact that we still measure angles to stars with a sextant in the south? There's nothing to believe. But I'm just getting pissed in my face, aren't I? That's what I'm getting when I answer his sodding question. It's a frickin' outrage. That's why I muster this disdain and tell him off and swear at him, in case anybody's wondering. Because you think you're justified after you get a graceful answer from me to say, I don't believe that. I don't give a shit what you believe. I've just taken my time out of my day to answer you, you stupid asshole. Now acknowledge that or fuck off.
Hey Nathan, this is Grandpa Fiddlebone. It's a different question. I wasn't the one who asked that question before.
Nobody said it was, you stupid
Now let me ask you a simple question.
Nobody said it was, you stupid idiot. Nobody said it was.
Oh, okay. I thought you were yelling at me.
Stuttering much. Your comedian vibe failed immediately when you just stuttered.
Can you elucidate?
It's all about timing, you know. It's all about timing. I can ruin your timing by stepping all over you. That'll ruin your timing. Your comedian gig will be over quickly when I ruin your timing. Whatever do you mean by that? Like this.
I'm asking.
Are there any jokes coming? It sounds like you've just got stutter. Are there any jokes?
Can you elucidate?
You stopped being funny quite quickly, didn't you? Did you run out of jokes? You stopped being funny quite quickly. You stopped being funny. You stopped being funny.
With the Coriolis-induced stick.
You stopped being funny. Did you think dropping in a serious question while I'm pointing out how crap your timing's become with me interrupting that timing? Have you run out of jokes? I asked you a specific question. No?
Yeah, now when they
Just
get
the crappy
serious.
routine, right?
Uniform lithospheric density distribution absent the oblate spheroidal curvature empiric.
That was total word salad, you
Empirically
numpty. You couldn't
validated
even get
by
through the end of your
satellite
word salad, you stupid numpty. You failed to complete that word sentence fragment.
Validated by satellite allometry and interferometry synthetic aperture radar data.
You're a retard. You're a retard. You don't even know what the words you're using mean. You're a retard. Retard. We're done with you. Be gone, retard. Your word salad didn't make you look smart, and your comedic one-trick pony act didn't last very long, did it?
Well,
Nobody's laughing anymore. Yeah? Your one-trick pony joke got one laugh. Now nobody's
they got?
laughing. Is that all you got? Was that your only joke? Hello? You're being asked something. Is that your only joke, Grandpa Fiddlebone?
Do you need me to rephrase that for you? Or?
I got a joke for you.
Are you capable of interacting with a proactive respondent?
Let me ask it a bit clearer. Can you expound with meticulous cartographic precision how the planar terrestrial paradigm sustains the Coriolis-driven cyclonic rotational dichotomous across hemispheric atmospheric dynamics? While simultaneously reconciling the gravimetric irregularities?
Coriolis driven. Define Coriolis.
Precisely.
Please.
Yes, Don Coriolis.
No, he's pointing out you can't be Coriolis driven.
No. Define the Coriolis.
Well, you can if there's a cyclonic rotational dichometric hemispheric atmospheric dynamic.
Yeah. You see, this is what's wrong. Right? On the globe side, they don't know the difference, with the exception of Bruhit and Conspiracy Cast. It seems the rest of them don't know the difference between being funny and being a smartass. Right? This guy's
Whatever
just
do you mean by that?
He adds nothing to the world. Right? He's just a nobody hanging around.
I'm asking a simple question.
Brian and the guy.
I mean, I wouldn't allow him on my server for even 30 seconds.
Just to the guy who's asked the question, the point that you
It's Grandpa
faltered,
Fiddlebone.
Grandpa Fiddlebone. My apologies. Brian's caught you out at the point that you're asking about a contradiction in regards to Coriolis, because you have it influencing things in your question.
But that's the question.
Before I've even answered,
how do you reconcile that with the cyclonic rotational dichotomy?
So you're just muting me. You're just going to mute me. Yeah? Is that your tactic?
Mute you. I don't have power to mute,
I'll appeal
sir.
to the moderators. I'm in the middle of saying something, and Grandpa Fiddlebones decided he's going to mute me. I'll try that again.
Whatever do you mean by
exposed yourself? No, it's just going to be a non-stop. I get muted by Grandpa Fiddlebone, it seems. I'll try a fourth time. Brian's caught you out. He asked you about what Coriolis was because there was a point in your diatribe of word salad you didn't understand that contradicted what Coriolis was as it was influencing things. Brian caught it and then asked you to define what the Coriolis effect would be. You didn't. Therefore, we knew instantly that you're just reading off a load of words, that you don't actually know them. There's him muting me again. He's muting me again. It's just him muting me as I embarrass him. Brian's caught him out. I've now made fifth attempt to point out that we knew the point you didn't know the words and their meanings as you rattled them off. You've already been exposed as a pretender clown, trying to sound smart with long scripted words that you don't know the meaning of. Now we do, and as you use them, Brian is catching you out and then trying to clarify just how dumb you are with the words you don't understand the meaning of as you use them. We do know the words that you're using. We also know that you don't, and that they're word salad when you use them.
Usually when everyone's laughing but you're not, it's because you're the joke, dude. That's what it is.
Well, I just want to make sure he's referring to me. This is Grandpa. That whole thing you said, was that referring to me or someone else, or what are we talking about right now?
No, we weren't talking to you anymore. I think you can
So
safely,
the Coriolis
you can safely
phenomenon
assume that while
constitutes
I'm
an inertial
answering
speed of
him and he's
force
getting clarity about who's being spoken to, you can be damn sure he's going to mute me. Right?
He just,
I just need some confirmation.
You just need to
here,
mute me.
sir.
What, mute me while I answer you? Yeah, you've got a globe tactic repertoire that you're now engaged in. Yeah? We've seen it all before. I've been here
Whatever
10
do you
years.
mean by that?
What you're doing now, right this second, is not new. It's not unique. It's not special. You're just a wanker. You're a fairly standard wanker. That's what you are.
You could say I'm above average. That's okay too.
Okay, you're an above average wanker.
I appreciate that, Nathan.
He just debunked himself because he said the Coriolis phenomenon. But that would be an effect then, wouldn't it?
Well, it would be unless it constituted an initial pseudo-force manifestation.
So you don't know what you're talking about. You're just a bullshitter. You're just a time waster.
I'm explaining it to you, sir. It's emergent within non-inertial reference frameworks. It's pretty simple
You're just
stuff.
a time waster and a bullshitter who doesn't know what he's talking about.
It's emergent with a non-inertial reference frame. Which non-inertial reference frame would that be?
Well, I mean, there's tangential velocity factors and vectors that we're not referring to here.
Let's try it a second time. Second time. Which non-inertial frame of reference would that be? Second time. Let's count them off.
Well, it's orthogonal. That's the point here.
This will be the third time I ask you. Which non-inertial reference frame would that be? Third time. Spastic retard Dumbo.
I believe I'm answering it, but orthogonality is the correct science.
You're exposed. Yeah, you're exposed. You're a retard. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, retard, do you?
He's not funny.
Well, there's a consequential artifact.
You're exposed as a dumbass retard, but you think you could just keep babbling?
I mean,
I'm
really?
simply talking about
I just got here, and your response to a question about
system.
Talking right through your chocolate.
Your response to which non-inertial reference frame are you talking about? It's orthogonal? What the hell are you talking about?
That's correct. Or if you want the scientific word, it's
how is that correct? What does that mean? Do you know what a non-inertial reference frame is?
No, he doesn't.
It's a tangential velocity vector. It's simple stuff here.
That's really?
This
guy's
please define orthogonal, please, and how it relates to what you're calling the Coriolis phenomenon.
Well, I simply said it. It's a consequential artifact of rotational angular momentum. It's kind of simple scientific thesis here.
But you mentioned orthogonality, which is 90 degrees to vertical.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to think of it that way, on a planar spherical kinematic system.
He has yet to define that. He hasn't defined the Coriolis effect. He's talking around a lot of things, but he's not defining anything.
Or telling us which is
He's just a bullshitter.
Or telling us which is the non-inertial frame of reference he's detailing. He hasn't told us that either.
Well, I could simplify it a bit for you folks if you need. There's some sort of perpendicular configurational alignment here.
Anything. You're an idiot. We just need you to answer the questions that we're asking you. If you want to come in here trying to waste our time, we're going to get something out of this. Now, Nathan asked you a question. Please answer that.
I just did. There's a perpendicular configurational alignment that tends to act as sort of a directional axis.
You don't understand. Using the word orthogonal as if that makes you
linear 90-degree angularity.
Being able to say the word orthogonal doesn't make you intelligent. Now, Nathan asked you which reference frame you're referring to.
The inertial reference frame, sir. It's simple stuff here.
So you said the non-inertial.
Yeah.
Which was the non-inertial reference frame you're referring to?
Non-inertial, inertial, same thing.
It's the same thing.
Similar thing.
We're done with this clown. He doesn't know.
Please take him away. He's just wasting his time.
There's a relatively directly linear orthogonal relationship here in the angles.
Shut that one.
You idiot.
For everybody in here. This is for everyone in here.
Whatever do you mean
Even if
by
you're
that?
bored, why would you want your time wasted? If you're going to come in here to talk to Flat Earth,
this is what you've got, ballers.
Would you want to be dealing with this guy?
This is what you've got.
What's the purpose of it?
Represent. This is what you've got, man. This guy. Non-inertial are the same
this
thing.
guy just said that non-inertial and inertial reference frame are the same thing.
Yeah.
Question: why would they name them differently if they're the same thing, buddy?
Don't keep feeding them.
You gotta try to reason with them, chocolate.
I don't know. I just got here. This sounds fun. I don't know what's going on, but yeah.
We're getting made fun of by a retard. Basically, what's going on? He's trying to make Yeah, he's trying to clown us.
When he said the non-inertial and inertial reference frame are the same thing, that's cute.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
the
but-
kids in special ed making fun of the kids in regular class at this point.
Yeah, but what it is that the reason why he thinks that's a good thing to do is because he thinks that flat earthers must be stupid. So when he comes in here and waffles on with a lot of rubbish, and suddenly he's caught out within his waffle, he can't then deal with that. So he has to just keep on waffling. But where's his evidence that we're the stupid ones when he doesn't know what he's talking about, even within his own rubbish? Because if I'm going to do that, the least I'm going to do is get my facts correct. I won't be getting caught out with simple things in the middle of sentences. That won't be happening if I'm going to take that route. So how are we the stupid ones within this scenario? That's what I'd like to know. Because that's why he's here, because he pre-assumes that he's the smart one. This is the problem with our opposing
He just
side.
proved he's not.
Yeah, but this is the thing. How is he the smart one then?
He's not.
How is he the smart one?
He isn't, Brian. But they want to assume that they can waffle a load of word salad at us and catch us out like we don't know what all the words mean. It's like, no. Like you've just pointed out, Brian, if you're going to do that and be comedic, you've got to know what all the terms mean so that you can catch your opponent out. Well, he didn't, did he? So he's not going to look smart at the end of that process because he isn't smart. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premium Stream, stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow.
Yo,
Phenomenon. I was just like, really? This is the type of day we're having?
Yeah, he's trying to describe Coriolis, the plane of reference is 90 degrees to something. You know, orthogonality.
What Coriolis?
Don't. I ain't even trying to figure that out. He's claiming it's orthogonal, and then asking us about the plane of reference that you just friggin' utilized. What are you talking about?
I see.
Well, it's quite a simple concept here.
What's the simple concept?
Oh, absent the oblate spheroidal curvature, there's some empirical validation that can be validated by a satellite allometry and interferometric synthetic aperture radar data.
Using the same word.
Exactly.
Nice, bro. Let's go, bro.
Yeah, see, we got smart globers too, guys.
Validation of
Rick,
what?
does he understand the majority or any of the words he just said?
He knows every one of them.
Cool. So define Coriolis. It was asked earlier. He didn't do it.
I believe I answered that many times.
It's really funny.
Wait. The fact that you just brought up the hold on. The fact that you just brought up the oblate spheroid, I got a question for you. I want to know, which type of glober are you? Are you the pear-shaped globe earther? Are you the oblate spheroid earther? Or are you the perfectly beautiful spherical NASA earther? Which one are you?
Well, here's the
Which one
thing.
do you go with?
I'm just asking questions here. That's what I'm doing.
I didn't hear you asking questions. I heard you trying to tell people what Coriolis force or phenomenon is. That's what I heard. But you just brought up an oblate spheroid, so I want to know, is it an oblate spheroid? Is it a pear? Or is it a perfect sphere like we're shown by your alma mater, NASA? Which one is it?
And you're talking to me, is that correct? I just want to make sure you're referring to Grandpa right now.
One trick pony.
Or
Hi
even someone
guys.
else.
Hi everyone. Hello everyone.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Who's saying hello?
I'm okay. I'm okay. How are you?
Annalise. Can I appeal to the mods to mute the Grandpa Fiddlebone if we're going to engage Annalise?
Whatever for.
Don't disturb the conversation.
Because you're incoherent and retarded by demonstration.
Guys, let's not use the R word. It's not very nice.
It's
Have you any glow proof?
It's actually
or have you, or
it's very
if not, just
offensive.
go away. lady.
Hold on.
Either come up with some globe proof or go away. I'm not interested in what we should or shouldn't do.
He's gone, Brian. That guy's gone.
No, this lady, Annalise, the minute she comes in, she starts telling us what we should and shouldn't do. Just, where's your globe proof or go away?
Yeah, I concur with that.
That's pretty logical. I must be logical.
I literally just said you should not say the R word. That's it.
But retarded
That's
means
all.
mentally held back. He demonstrated he was mentally held back. Why is it wrong to say that's retarded?
Well, just say mentally challenged, man. You don't have to use the R word.
Can we just...
Exactly. Thank you.
Why?
Okay, he's a global. Annalise's over.
Hold on, just one second. Just one sec. Right, Annalise, what's been put to you is that... Do you understand what the word retard means?
Oh my God, I'm so offended right now. This is ridiculous.
Can we shut Rob Noxious up? Rob Noxious is just doing what I was hoping that the guy, whatever Grandpa was going to do. Rob Noxious has decided to take up those reins instead. Annalise, to retard means to hold back. Do you understand that?
Yes, of course. I'm English.
Excellent. So to describe him as mentally retarded when demonstrating exactly that is an accurate description of what he is.
Yeah, but don't you think it's a little abrasive?
No.
No.
What did he say anyway? What did he even say?
I don't know. Annalise, it's just you're deciding that you're going to give orders of how we should talk. I mean, we're not telling you.
I never said that.
And now you're talking through me. I'm quite finished.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
You're still doing it now. Ideally, I won't be telling you how to talk, but we will hopefully engage in discussion about the nature of Earth. But if during that discussion one of us behaves in a certain way and the other describes it or summarises it, we'd hope that someone from the sidelines doesn't pipe up and, start telling us that we can't use that language when it's perfectly admirable and accurate language. Perfect. So in the meantime, Annalise, you're in a flat Earth forum. Do you have any globe evidence?
The Earth is round.
That's a statement as opposed to evidence.
That's retarded.
Unless you've got a lot of evidence and a lot of
we're
knowledge,
engaging with this
Annalise,
person called Annalise.
time
So this is the
on the show.
third white night in a row.
Just saying, unless she's
just shut up. So Annalise, that was a statement as opposed to evidence. Do you know what evidence means? Being English and all.
Yes.
What does evidence mean?
Evidence means I guess facts that are backed up by imperial studies that are usually peer reviewed.
What does imperial mean?
Empirical, I mean, sorry.
The proof.
Yes.
Okay. Saying Earth is round isn't proof, is it? It's just a statement, a baseless assertion, in fact.
But of course it's round. That's the reason why in some places it's like daytime, in some places it's nighttime, in some places it's afternoon, because we rotate. So I feel like that's like proof enough. Like you could literally can just step outside, and if we are, well, we're probably not because we're in the same country, but like if someone else is like, let's say in, I don't know, like Chile right now versus someone in Ireland, they're going to be seeing like a different, side of space, because the Earth is round and we rotate.
Yeah, that's an affirming the consequent fallacy.
But was that not like good? Like, did I not explain pretty well?
No, you affirm the consequent. You also
you said weather proves globe.
So the sun producing day and night cycles, you're suggesting that is evidence of a presupposed motion through sphericity. I hadn't quite finished there. I did listen to you, Annalise. It'd be ideal if, when I talk, you do the same courtesy and don't talk straight through me with yeses and nodding along. Ideally, it'd just be good if I could just talk unimpeded. Thank you. You're assuming sphericity is the cause of those things, and you're affirming the consequent. That's fallacious logic, by the way. So no, that isn't evidence. That's affirming the consequent. It's fallacious reasoning. It also begs the question of sphericity. That's the very thing you're trying to prove. You've automatically assumed that outcome. So no, that's fallacious in every single front. Definitely not evidence, Annalise. Meanwhile, just so I can evidence a standard that hopefully will resonate with you in a way that is uplifting, the assertion that there is a sphere to believe in is derived from principles of measurements of a flat Earth. For example, the equator that you are presumably aware of on a sphere, that is a concept derived from measuring Polaris. Flat. That's an angle to it. Its minimum forms the outside edge of what you think is a ball. But it requires Earth be measured as a flat plane to develop that belief that you can affirm the consequent in when you beg the question of it. There you go. You learn something new every day.
Well, they're already taught that, they can measure it as a plane because it's a really big ball and all. They already know it's flat. You don't have to take them far.
I suppose as a question to you, Annalise, were you aware that in order to believe you're on a ball, you must measure Earth as a flat plane? Did you know that?
Everyone knows that. I did geography in high school.
So you're already well aware that Earth is measured flat?
Yes, because I'm smart. That doesn't mean it is actually flat, though. Do you think it's held up by a giant turtle?
Wow.
Excuse me? I didn't assert that. That's what's called a straw man fallacy. So we'll just ignore the straw man that you've attempted to burn. I didn't suggest that or say it. Those words didn't cross my lips. But you understand that we will measure Earth flat with elevation angles to Polaris. But you're suggesting that in spite of measuring Earth flat, that doesn't mean that it's flat even though it's measured that way. And you understand that because you're smart and did geography, correct?
Yes, and I understand circumnavigation.
Okay. So why would you assert that it's not flat if it's measured that way?
Well, like what? Like what?
Is that pardon? Why would you assert that it's not flat after conceding that you understood its measurement is flat? That's Earth measurement is flat, with an example of Polaris measurement.
I have a question for you.
No, I'm asking you a question. I asked you a question, I've repeated it. Did you prefer to ignore the question I've just asked you? Because if so, I can just ask someone else to engage in a conversation with me. If you're refusing to, by just asking a question in the face of me asking you something, which is why you would deny Earth's flatness, given that you've just explained you understood how flat we must measure it when we measure Polaris for latitude. I've put it to you 3 times. Would it be possible for you to address what I've put to you, rather than ask a new question in defiance of that question I've asked? You made a statement, not flat, but you know it's measured that way. That makes no sense. I'm asking you to clarify that, please.
And she's gone.
Or did she run like a complete coward?
No, she just realized that you're a retard.
I don't think she could get.
Sorry, White Knights, if you don't mind piping down while I make my conclusions in the face of the coward running away, rather than addressing the facts that she understood Earth to be measured flat, because she did quote geography. But that doesn't mean that it's flat in spite of her knowing it's flat. Like we asserted, Chocolate said she already knows it's flat, and she did. So, in conclusion, not Nathan's a retard, fucking asshole, hope you get banned. Meanwhile, Earth is measured flat. That bitch knew it, didn't she? But she fucked off the moment I pointed that out, didn't she? Because she's an abject coward. And her attempts to understand how imperial the fucking flat Earth measurement was, she wasn't smart and English. She was a downright spastic. That's what she was. Imperial, eh, fuckwit? Get lost, bitch. You're a spastic. Don't like my fucking tone? Then don't talk like a twat. Imperial. Ooh. Dropped on your fucking head much?
Like
it's necessary. That's why they're here to deride and insult us. Because to take something, you must make someone your enemy first. They have to perceive us as the enemy, or, you know, put us in that position where it's okay for them to steal from us.
Yeah. It's okay for her to know damn well Earth's measured flat in geography, because she's smart and English. So you know damn well it's measured flat then, bitch, don't you?
It sounded to me, I suppose it was annoying me, so I nearly came in on top of you. I apologize for that, but it sounded to me like it was an American lad with a voice changer pretending he was English. I wanted to ask her what part of English she was from. That should be interesting.
Yeah, she wants to tell us off. She wanted to tell us off. She wanted to tell us off, didn't she, Brian? Don't tell people there in our words.
English too much. You don't need to tell everyone I'm English. You're just English. You just are. Do you know what I mean? You don't feel the need that doesn't have to be one of the first things you say. That straight away means you're not. More than likely.
Exactly. I don't go around telling people I'm an Afro-Caribbean man. Why would I? It's obvious.
Yeah, you don't need to tell people what you are. You just are what you are.
Yeah, man.
You know, and it has no bearing. Who cares what you are or where you're from? You know what I mean? In the arena, in the debate arena, it has nothing to do with anything. So this is just an American guy, I'd say, with a voice changer.
I'm curious if the white knight that called us a retard because she left or whatever, if he would agree with her that obviously we know it's measured flat, but it's still globe afterwards. Would you agree with her?
Well, she did have imperial evidence after all.
Imperial evidence.
You're not going to let that one go, are you, Nathan? Imperial. What are we talking about, margarine?
If you come and give me orders, about what I should say and how I should say it, and then fuck up on basic English after telling me you're smart and English, then I will rub that in as much as humanly possible. Yeah? That's what I'll do.
You don't get to decide what is and isn't socially acceptable, Nathan.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, you do, don't you?
No, you don't. You don't get to decide that.
Yeah, I do. When someone says imperial after telling me they're smart, I'll call them a fuckwit. Totally justifiably. Yeah, I will. I'll call them a fuckwit with justifiable indignancy towards their description of being smart. Because my indignance is based on their incorrect assertion that they're smart when they're telling me how imperial the fucking evidence is, Brenda. You wanker.
Can turn it on and off, can't you,
Wanker.
Nathan? It's all just an act, right, Nathan?
Stop shouting.
Turn it.
Piss off, you wanker. Go and masturbate yourself somewhere else. Wanker.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like
you have empirical evidence for the flat Earth?
Yes, it's measured that way, sir. Let's do this, dude.
Ooh.
Yes, I do have empirical evidence that's precisely how Earth is measured for everyone always. There are no exceptions.
Ooh, can you explain that method?
Yeah, well, you're not listening. I just took that bitch by the short hairs with Polaris measurement on a flat Earth. Were you not listening?
Well, I heard you abuse a lady, of course.
Did you not hear me, dumbass? I didn't say I abused her. I gave her Polaris measurement. She said she understood it. I'm asking if you understand it. She said she was smart and did geography. Now you're talking through me like that bitch did. Do you understand?
I'm asking for your empirical evidence.
Yeah, she said she understood it. Do you? She said she did geography when I detailed the measurement that gave the equator. I'm asking you for the 4th time. If you understand it, you stupid dumbass. It seems like when I get to the conclusion of me asking you for the 4th time if you understand that empirical evidence of measured flat Earth, you don't seem to want to respond to it. You just want to chant through the top of it. So I'll ask a 5th time. Is it just going to be you chanting through me trying to get the question unimpeded? Is it you winning when I ask about that empirical evidence that you don't seem to have understood or acknowledged? It was my response to you, sir. We were discussing the empirical evidence of a measured flat Earth. She said she understood it. You were here when she said that. Do you not understand how flat Earth must be measured for the equator, sir? 5 times.
You sound silly, Nathan, when you talk like that, bro. I think everyone's in.
Shut him up, wanker! This white knight wanker. The guy asked if I had empirical evidence. Now he's not answering me. I've given it him and asked if he understood it. It was in discussion before he asked, making him a retard or deaf.
Sorry, I lost connection. That's all.
All right, no worries. I'll tone it down a little bit. Oh, I went through with that woman. She seemed very stupid. She thought she was smart. She did, however, confirm she understood how Earth is measured flat for the equator. Do you also, like her, understand that? Example of empirical evidence of a measured flat Earth? Or not?
Is that a scientific thing you got?
So that's a question in response to it. This man's a wanker, moderators. I've asked him a very simple question 6 times. He's lost connection, and now he's asking me about whether or not it's scientific evidence. Nobody asserted it was. I laid down the measurement that's empirical in nature. It's a measurement of an Earth that's flat to be an angle to derive equator values for him to believe he's on a bleeding sphere. It's a pertinent point. Maybe I'll be told in response this time that it's not foundational. Asking me if it's scientific evidence doesn't acknowledge if you understand the flat Earth measurement that gives us the equator. I'll ask a 7th time, sir. Do you understand my empirical evidence when it comes to Polaris measurement and its minimum to form a globe Earth equator when measuring Earth flat? Do you understand or not? It's been 7 times.
Oh, measuring an angle neither requires a horizontal nor forms one.
A horizontal what?
Measuring an angle neither requires a horizontal nor forms a horizontal when you take an angle.
Elevation angle, time waster.
Let's keep leaving out the word elevation.
Oh, yeah.
It's all right.
What about elevation changes the angle? It's just an angle.
But it's an elevation angle.
Seriously.
Do you need us to define what that is? Are you unaware of this thing measured?
Just an angle.
It's like it's almost like me asking him a question should be obfuscated with him immediately muting me. Let's try again. I'll start, see if he interrupts the second time. So, are you unaware of this measured angle known as an elevation angle? Would you like me to define it for you if you are ignorant of it, sir? Second time.
Oh, you can measure an angle, okay?
That wasn't a question. Third time. Are you ignorant of an elevation angle? I'll define it for you if you are. It's the 3rd time.
Oh, go on. You define it.
Oh, excellent. The altitude angle, sometimes referred to as solar elevation angle, describes how high the sun appears in the sky. The angle is measured between the imaginary line between the observer and the sun and the horizontal plane the observer is standing on. End quote. Sustainable by design.
Okay. Well, that's just an angle, and I did point out to you that that's a globe citation before.
That's not just an angle. It's an elevation angle.
There was no horizontal involved.
So, were you ignorant of the angle known as an elevation angle? Because your response to me was, it's just an angle, as opposed to, I am or am not ignorant of this fact as defined by you. You didn't thank me for defining it. You said it's just an angle. No. It's an elevation angle. I've just defined it. Either, don't chant through me, please, Hayuka. Either acknowledge that which I've just defined. No, he's not. It's moderators. It's not. It's turning into a shit show. He's just going to make it a shit show rather than have a reasonable back and forth.
You can do
he's
that
not
all
acknowledging
on your
me
own.
now. He's just chanting through me while I try and get some semblance of a reasonable discussion out of him. He's not having it. He's chanting through me.
And he just lied as well, Nathan. He just lied. He said it's a globe citation, whatever the hell that is. I'd like someone to define what a globe citation is. It can't be. There's a horizontal involved. It can't be a globe. Remember the thing that you, time waster, lose the radius? Remember the thing that you said had nothing to do with the elevation angle? Oh, sorry, you said angle, because you were trying to not reference and address the elevation angle. Now, fuck off.
Yeah, disingenuous lying. What a shitbag. So he told me after I cited it that number one, it's just an angle, and then it's just a globe citation. No, when it describes a horizontal plane that the observer is standing on, there is no horizontal plane to stand on a curved surface ever. under any circumstances. So that makes him a lying, disingenuous shitbag who can fuck off. I don't want to talk to him anymore. Fuck off.
Well, there is apparent plane. It's the apparent plane they're talking about. It's like it's if you have a huge surface, if you have a huge curved surface, it's almost impossible to differentiate the curvature. Yeah, exactly. So it's an apparent, it's an imaginary plane where you're
saying. Everyone, shut up.
Trying to get me about this.
Hold on.
All right, sir.
Everyone, shut up. What's your name? Aka. How'd you say your name?
Conrad.
Conrad.
Yeah.
Okay. Feel free. I'm going to clear the airways for you to make your statement of it's so big we measure it flat.
And we don't measure it flat. We say we have an imaginary flat plane, and that's what we refer to as, when we want to measure angles to the sun. That's what we refer to.
So we measure it flat. You're saying that the bit we measure flat is imaginary.
That's not what I said.
It's just me.
No,
we
don't measure
straight
it.
Through the middle of me.
We model it. That's what we do. We model this.
What a wanker! What a wanker! I'm addressing you. Yeah, I heard what you said. You said it's an imaginary flat plane that we measure. No,
not measure. We model it.
Right, we measure elevation angles to the star Polaris to form the minimum.
Yeah, we measure that.
Is it just me, or is this every single time I talk? This fuckstain talks through me. Now you've been server muted, you fuckstain asshole. Is this your only tactic? You think you can win by telling me about an imaginary plane?
Cry more,
what a
bitch.
wanker! Another wanker white knight that doesn't like the fact that this asshole's been shut down because he can't win by talking through me every time I open my bleeding mouth. Yo, Conrad, you fuckstain. Do you want to try again and have a decent conversation with me where you don't chant through me when I respond to your shithead remarks about an imaginary flat plane that we'll measure? Oh, it's not that Earth's being measured flat. It's just that we're measuring an imaginary plane that we're not measuring. Oh, yeah, we are. It's called an elevation angle measurement. I just defined it. It had the word fucking measurement in it. You stupid fuckstain that can't but help talk through me. So, Conrad, you wanker, do you want to respond to the cited source where it defines it as being fucking measured off a horizontal plane we're standing on?
Can I speak now?
You could respond after I've finished rather than in the middle of me responding to you when you say we've got an imaginary plane that isn't measured when I just cited sustainable by design. Two specific words in there. Measured and horizontal plane.
Can I respond?
Yeah. So we're measuring a horizontal plane. You say it's imaginary. I say no, we're measuring it. Earth. Flat.
Okay, so can I respond now, just to be clear?
What, in the middle of the silence? So you've asked me a question, presumably you're going to try and turn it into a rhetorical question. Yes, when I finish speaking, you may address what I say. So I will repeat what I am saying. I'll give you a citation to address the fact that you say it's imaginary, the flat plane that we'll be measuring, and that we're not measuring it. That's what I am addressing that you have said, Conrad. I'll address it with a citation. The altitude angle, sometimes referred to as solar elevation angle, describes how high the sun appears in the sky. The angle is measured between the imaginary line between the observer and the sun and the horizontal plane the observer is standing on. End quote. Sustainable by design. So, Conrad, you've asserted that it's A, imaginary, as opposed to the horizontal plane we're standing on, and B, not measured, in spite of the cited source saying specifically, and I quote, measured. So, Conrad, rather than chanting through the top of me, can you address that total shit you spouted incorrectly, please?
Yes, I can say that I agree that we do measure, that's right. The question is, what do we measure of? And yeah, you're mentioning this plane that it says in the source, that we're measuring from the plane to, this plane to the sun, correct?
That's right. So, in conclusion, Conrad, we are in fact measuring Earth flat. Then,
well, measuring an angle is what we're doing.
Yes, from the horizontal plane the observer is standing on, end quote, sustainable by design. I've got 20 of these citations, by the way, Conrad. They all say Earth is flat to measure this angle. It's required for it to be an angle that Earth is flat to do it. You said it wasn't measured, though. You also said that it was imaginary. You're still chanting through the top of me there, Conrad. What a fuck stain. Conrad, you were just fucking wrong, you total fuckstain asshole dickhead with a globe belief and an imaginary plane that we definitely aren't fucking standing on as you chant through me. So fuckstain that wants to talk through me correcting your dumbass that was wrong. Can you not chant through me like an asshole when I correct how fucking wrong you were when you said that it was imaginary? No, it ain't imaginary, Conrad, you stupid shithead globe-believing dickhead. No, it's the horizontal plane we're standing on. The one that you're slowly comprehending and acknowledging that we definitely do measure. You half acknowledged it and then wanted to seemingly skirt away from it. So we're just going to get a concession and a comprehension from you, Conrad, that we will be measuring Earth flat because it's the horizontal plane the observer is standing on to make this measurement of a flat Earth. You understand, right, Conrad?
What I understand is that we model a flat plane, and that's
we measure it. You stupid fuckstain.
Yes, we are measuring. Yes, we're
measuring. Were you dropped on your fucking head?
We're not measuring the Earth.
Oh, really? Why does the sustainable by design citation say the word measured? Asshole. Then? Why does it say fucking measured? Then you stupid retard. You want me to read the citation?
Measured because we're measuring an angle. And,
so we're fucking measuring it. Then we're not modelling it. Then spastic. So you're just a shithead. Yo, shithead. Shithead. You're wrong. Fuckhead. Can you tell me Oi! Shut up!
All right.
Yeah, you're a fucking idiot. You're wrong, and you want to chant through me when you say we're modelling it. No, fuckstain. You're wrong, and you're going to correct that shit right now. So, you retard, you're wrong, we're not fucking modelling it. Otherwise, it would say bye-bye, bitch. That bitch had to fucking run. Because he needed it to be modelled when it's actually measured. That would be Earth that's measured flat. But that little fuckstain had to run like a coward. Because he couldn't tell me that modelling is what we're actually doing when we measure Earth flat. Yeah, bye-bye, coward bitch. You won't be telling me how we're modelling a measured Earth that's flat. You can run, though, can't you, Conrad? Piss off.
Can I say something, Nathan? To you?
Which can?
Well, not just to you, just to whoever, but I'm going to address you. What we get, right, is we get the Dyer tribe of a whole line of cartoon characters, the Hiokas and these other idiots, right? They're all characters. They're not anybody. They're not real people. Like whoever they really are, that's not who they really are in the world, right? And then we get the Brendas of the world, right? And we get then the social complainers. Oh, your behavior is this, your behavior is that, blah, 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 right? And then now and again, we get someone like Conrad who comes along and he wants to have some kind of a debate, but he's not honest about how he does it. Because when it came to the actual citation, he wasn't addressing it. He says, well, he tried to say, yeah, it's a plane or whatever. No, it's specifically a horizontal plane that the observer is standing upon. That means it is the Earth. And the reason it's the Earth is because horizontal doesn't exist in his paradigm. It cannot exist. Horizontal is a constant orientation. And you're literally standing on this horizontal plane. That means it is the Earth. No matter what way, it's either parallel to sea level, you're at sea level. It's one or the other, right? Mean sea level. It's one or the other. The point is that it's the Earth that's being referenced. It's the height of the celestial body or whatever else mountain above the Earth. That's what an elevation angle is. That's what you're measuring. The angular height, the vertical angular height. That's what's being measured. So now and again, someone does come along who will have a conversation like Conrad, but by that time, we're also pissed off because we've spent an hour dealing with cartoon characters and people want to tell us how we should talk when they don't even know how to talk. Do you know what I mean? It's a load of hypocrites and cartoon characters. If Conrad would come along in the first place and then be honest about it when he's having the debate, not kind of give a feeble what's the word I'm looking for? Replay of what the citation was, right? Leaving out very specific words, right? Then we would be able to have a debate. But at that point, he has to admit that he's wrong. So he won't do that. So the closest we get to an actual debate is somebody like Conrad. That's the closest we get to an actual debate. Because when it gets to the point of where he's wrong, he's not going to concede.
Yeah,
he's going to, and you're going to be, you or me or whoever is going to be so pissed off at that stage because we've been dealing with a load of rubbish that, we can't even have a conciliatory conversation.
But even the Conrad guy, he's not after a conciliatory conversation, right? He says it's imaginary. We're modelling it. What, modelling it flat when we're out at sea with a freaking sextant in our hand pointing at the horizon? No, we're definitely not modelling jack. We're measuring the surface of Earth to acquire an angle so we can save our life at sea. It's a very serious business. It's not bleeding modelled. Every cited source for an elevation angle measurement will describe it as it's being measured with respect to the surface of Earth. There are no exceptions. But that wanker wanted to tell me it's modelled, wanted to tell me it's imaginary. No, dickhead. That's how we measure Earth. I've got plenty of sources and citations that show that. That's a fact. Good.
I think he was using a composition fallacy.
Yeah, your meth pipe isn't a source.
Because the composition of a model is based on measurements, right? That's part of modeling, and you got to do scale and other factors. He's trying to reverse that.
No, it's not. It's not a scientific model.
I didn't say
based
scientific.
on measurements. No, it's not.
I didn't base it on measure. Well, what?
You said models based
I
on
didn't say
measurements.
scientific. I didn't say scientific.
But that's with the genre that we're in. What model are you talking about?
So when I get a car and I take all the measurements of it and I reduce the scale, that's not a model.
Yeah, it's not a scientific model. That's the genre that we're in. We're not in computer models. What about runway models?
Hey, let's keep this internal back and forth about what a model is to ourselves.
Nathan, what I found best about that is that it's coming to the point where they need a flat Earth model to create a globe out of.
Yep. Exactly. He needs flat Earth. It's going to be measured. She understood it. She measured it in geography. Yeah, we're here to tell you, you're going to measure a flat Earth. That's how Earth's measured. And that's how the globe model, if you want to call it that, no such beast actually exists. That's how it was made. This reification of the idea of a curved surface comes from measuring a flat surface. Like with angles to stars, that's how the mapping gets done. That's how the sphere conversion gets done. It starts with flat Earth measurements. So when we put that to somebody and they say, no, that's imaginary, that bit. That bit where we're measuring Earth and that. No, it isn't. You're not going to tell me that when I cite sources that say it's measured. Oh, it's modelled. Fuck off. Yeah, what you can do when I shout you down and point out that that's bollocks is run like a coward and have a load of white knights tell me I'm a retard when I shout your bitch ass down for telling me that a measurement's a model. No, it ain't. And no, you won't get to tell me otherwise when I know you're wrong. What you will do is cower or run. And go, no, I'm going to tell you it's a model, it's imaginary. Or bleat. Well, that's what you can do.
Well, my point being is that maybe I didn't come across as clear as I wanted to. And I don't know if I was understood or not. Maybe it was. Is that the flat Earth claimed model that we've been asked for 10 years, they need this claim. Do you know what I mean? They seem to have this flat Earth model. They've been having it all along.
They've been had that shit already. That's the funny part. Every time they said it's too big to measure the curve, right? That's you telling us you're using a flat Earth model. That's adorable.
No, they are flat Earth model. They're flat. I know they have yet to produce this, but they have a flat Earth model. That's what it seems like to me.
Correct, it's the celestial sphere model.
No one said that about any of that other than you. They're claiming this model, right? Never spoke adding things in for them. They're claiming this model, this flat Earth model. That's what they keep going to these days. They have this flat Earth model that's measured, but it's not reality. It's not the Earth. And that model then allows them to create the globe model, which is the Earth.
What was it that guy? What was it? Conrad or something? What did he say? Oh, if you have a big enough curved surface, you can't tell the difference between a curve and.
Yeah.
Oh, that means you're measuring a flat. Oh no, I didn't say that.
No,
yeah, you
no.
did.
It's the bit that I just justified as being so big, conceptually capable of being taken as being a flat surface to measure. That's imaginary, and that isn't being measured. That's what he told us.
Yeah,
hilarious.
They call it the datum plane in geodetic surveying.
I didn't hear anyone say, I'm hearing about a flat out model that these guys know about and supposedly measure. And they have yet to see it, this flat out model. Maybe we need to start asking them for their flat out model. Because that's what we've been asked for 10 years, even though I personally never claimed a flat out model.
Well, in school, they taught us the celestial sphere was.
Don't be. See, this is the problem. Now you're going to go adding in things for them. Leave them produce this flat out model that they need and they're claiming to measure.
You're gonna have to get wise to this game pretty quick, John. I got wise to Brian's game immediately. He's not going to let you give him anything. No. They've said that they're taking these measurements so big it's flat. Okay, well, let's see what you've produced with your so big it's flat measurements you need for your globe. Let's see that. That's what Brian's saying, and I'm going to roll with it. No worries.
I'm with that. I'm with it.
Model. Yeah, and chocolate, obviously. They're flat out model. That's what we need to see now. Because that's what they're claiming. They're specifically using, you have been using the term model. We just model it that way. Right?
That girl, the lady, she was like, oh, but everybody knows it's measured flat. That's like, oh, I'm smart. Oh, yeah, but everybody knows it's measured flat, therefore globe. That's smart. What the hell, man?
They don't know they've been surreptitiously. Sorry, go ahead.
The genre we're in is for what is, or is it for how, why questions?
What is?
What is?
When I want to play a game of basketball, I always get a big sheet of plywood to play it with.
You know, a big sheet of plywood, I mean, it's so small. You could treat it as a basketball, Brian.
Yeah, it could be like totally a portion of a really big basketball. It could be part of a flat basketball model.
Yeah. That's what they're doing, though.
That goes back to the dude with, that's a globe citation. Excuse me. Why would a globe citation talk about an observer standing on a horizontal plane? Why would they do that?
Because in their mind, measuring a flat Earth proves a globe. And I've been saying it for at least a week, haven't we? They already know it's measured flat. That woman was the perfect example of it. Yeah, I'm smart. Yeah. Of course we're measuring it flat. Everybody knows that. Doesn't mean it's flat.
I thought I was hearing things. That's the smart bit right there. Doesn't mean it's flat. After everybody knows it's measured flat, that's where I'm smart comes in.
I've been telling you cats this for like 2 years. You just now getting it.
Yeah, we hadn't recognised this imperial evidence until now.
Imperial evidence.
Right, I'm going to say another massive thank you to Politics Discord server for having us. Are we welcome back next Friday? Hopefully so.
Yeah, of course.
What up, Politics?
You want to join?
No wonder it took you forever, Nathan, to let me in because you was chewing somebody out.
Welcome to stay up.
Heroes. Thank you for having us, Politics Discord server. It's been a pleasure as always.
I thought we left and those idiots just followed us.
I thought you was gone already. I said, no wonder it took you forever to get me in because you were chewing somebody out. As soon as you let me in, I heard you chewing somebody out.
Hey, let's try this a third time. Thank you for having us, Politics Discord server. Politics.
There isn't an entity of politics server. You have to direct it to an individual.
Okay, the mods who are awesome. Keeping me honest. Thank you very much for having us.
No worries.
We will see you next Friday.
Yeah, pop by anytime.
People like that.
Take care.
Jedi.
Jesus, Brian.
We'll see you next Friday. Thank you for having us. Right, I've disconnected.
Sorry, am I in trouble for actually using the names that you were telling Nathan to use?
He was talking while you were interrupting him.
No, you were talking while I was talking.
Look, is there any way we can... Look, this is getting awkward. Is there any way we can
I was trying to make your point while I was talking.
Is there any way we can just blame D-Rose for this? Is that a possibility? That moment already gone.
D-Rose's fault.
It ain't my fault.
It is.
Nathan said what he said. He get no response from the Discord moderator or whatever. Nobody said anything, so it was silence. Silence for 4 to 5 seconds. So that's when I said what I said.
You got to stop watching D-Rose.
Perfectly reasonable.
Am I gonna what?
Have you got to stop watching? You got to stop
I gotta
watching.
stop what?
Oh my God! Shut
Bro, D-Rose, man.
What
Relax.
the fuck, dude?
Jeez.
With great compression
What's wrong with you?
comes great responsibility.
What are you talking about? I'm trying to talk and y'all talking through me and I'm doing the same thing.
Fucking dumbass! Shut the fuck up!
Oh my God! Why does it always descend to
you.
this with
Fuck you,
QE, QE and
Fucking
D-Rose?
clown.
Oh,
Made
you two.
an arrow to shoot go backwards and shoot you in the fucking head.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh,
Don't bring that shit on, motherfucker.
No need. Both of you stop, please.
Bring an arrow to a gunfight.
Both of you, stop. Stop. No need.
Fucking making threats, huh? Bring that shit on, weak ass.
You started it, QE.
Fucking lift your ass up.
Oh my
Bring your
God.
family with you.
Oh my
Really?
God.
You really?
No need.
I guess
Yeah,
what? I'm a DM you where I'm at.
Come on, baby. Bring that weak shit on, Holmes.
Oh my God, QE. What is
D-Rose,
going
just
on?
relax, D. Just relax.
Both of you stop trying to impress me. But good afternoon.
Freaky Friday. I'm over here laughing at him.
No, I mean, but just relax when you come in. Just relax a little bit.
What are you talking about? All I said was what I said, and all I said was
That's
Nathan.
the point, D. So I'm trying
What's
to
the
tell you,
point?
just chill.
There's you, Neil.
I've
Wow.
been chill. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Don't you fucking dare.
Pot calling the kettle.
Are you Euclidean me?
Are you
Euclidean me? I like that.
I've been on fucking mute and I make sure. So don't try that shit from 3 years ago. D-Rose took it over.
Well, you did that last time.
I love you guys.
Said what?
I mean, on another note, it makes perfect sense to me if you're measuring the curvature of Earth, you not to use the curvature of Earth, but just use an imaginary horizontal plane. I mean, what's the problem?
All we need now is Eli's new mic.
Yeah, they already know. So big it's flat affirms it, right? Everyone knows. At least a dozen
Everyone
occasions
knows.
where they've been told Earth's so big, we measure it flat. Tyson himself, Neil deGrasse Tyson, saying that stuff is flat is a glorified example of the same thing, isn't it? That's him saying Earth's so big we measure it flat.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be stupid to actually measure the curvature. We don't want to be doing that when we're measuring the Earth. Just use an imaginary horizontal fucking plane.
What did I miss?
Nothing.
Coherency.
Ooh, I'm going to round out. With that, another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.